Hope you had a wonderful 7 days, okay, including Sunday, okay, which is little bit, in my view, it was a little bit bothering you on Sunday, but it was needed both from your institution as well as from MMTC point of view. That's why we had some session on Sunday as well. So, dear friend, very good afternoon, and thank you, Ankit, for a detailed introduction. I think I'm an honorary teacher. Okay, the only difference is I have spent more number of years, right? So I know that I am addressing to people who are maybe more competent than me. Okay, in some of their areas of expertise. But anyway, as you can see, this NEP orientation and sensitization is all about sensitizing you. With regard to various aspects of the national education policy, which has been rolled out way back in July 2020. So roughly 6 months, 6 years have passed. Okay, and we are still working on, you can say, the some of the implication of this technology, this policy, and so on. So as far as today's session is concerned, we'll talk about one important pillar of this NEP 2020, and that is the integration of ICT in general and AI in particular with your daily teaching, learning, and research needs. So, having said this, probably in the morning I have shared you a document, a policy document, one can say, or a policy paper, uh, wherein various aspects of this technology has been exhaustively elaborated. Okay, I request all of you to please go through it. But as far as these two sessions are concerned, in the very first session, we will have some theoretical foundation about this technology. Okay, and then the second session, as Ankit has rightly pointed out, we'll have some hands-on on some of these tools. Okay, again, you may have argument your own reservation with regard to whether we should adopt to all these tools. So all those aspects again we'll discuss in detail. Okay, so there are some ethical consideration as well. Okay, there are some one can say the legal aspects of the usage of AI. That is again the hot topic nowadays. Okay, so all those points definitely we'll try to cover in our discussion. But at the same time, okay, I'm from computer science, so some of you may feel that I am advocating this usage of these AI tools because it is my own baby. But it is nothing like that. Okay, at least all of you will agree that is some way or the other we need to upskill or reskill ourselves. Okay, and that is what exactly we are going to look at in these two sessions. Okay, so let me begin with some, you can say, the theoretical aspects of this AI. That is how this technology has evolved and how it has started and where we are as on date. Okay, so all those aspects we will cover in the first section. Okay, just allow me to share my PowerPoint presentation. I hope all of you are comfortable in English, or otherwise I can speak Marathi or Hindi as well. Okay, so we may have a multilingual kind of a deliberation. That is not an issue. But since we are talking about technology, okay, definitely we need to use certain things in English only, right? So I hope my entire screen is visible to you. Somebody has to confirm.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thanks for the confirmation. Okay, and probably we are in a presentation mode. Again, you may give a thumbs up, or you are not comfortable in unmuting yourself. And the slides
Yes,
are
sir.
changing. And the slides are changing. Right? Okay. So thank you, sir. And once again, a very good afternoon to all those who have joined little late. Okay. So this is what is there on the agenda. That is, we'll just try to have a look at what are all Gen AI tools are all about. Okay, and again, these Gen AI tools suffers from a lot of drawbacks. Okay, so how to address all those drawbacks? So there is a engineering concept, what they call it as RAG. Okay, that again we'll just try to touch upon in our deliberation. Okay, but before directly jumping into what is AI, okay, we need to understand what is human intelligence. Okay. So on these lines, definitely I would love to have your inputs. So what do you feel? What is human intelligence is all about? Or rather, what are the attributes which makes us intelligent as a human being? And again, you must have observed that while the other sessions as well, that the delivery mechanism of these NEP 2020 is little bit different. Okay, it should not be a monologue. Okay, there has to be a dialogue, and that is the only objective of asking these questions to you. Okay, the basic philosophy is to simply involve you in the discussion. There is no other reason. I know that some of you, those who are particularly from computer science, okay, they may be well acquainted with these terms and so on. But the basic idea is to simply involve you in the discussion. So, what is your take on human intelligence? What do you feel? What is human intelligence is all about? What makes us intelligent as a human being? Now, this is not specific to any discipline. This is a general question, okay, which anybody can attempt. So, what is your take on this? Anybody would like to reflect on these lines? क्या लगता है आपको ह्यूमन इंटेलिजेंस क्या होता है? What makes us intelligent as a human being? Okay. Now, let's say if you have decided that, or I don't know what kind of situation you are at this point of time. Okay, but anyway, so I presume that you are not in a position to talk. Okay, I'll not compel you to switch on your cameras and so on. Okay, but I would love, let's say, if you can, some of you can unmute and you can come up with your own, because this NEP orientation sensitization is all about, you can say, brainstorming. Okay, brainstorming on various aspects of NEP 2020. So ICT integration is one of the important aspects, rather one of the important pillar of that policy. Okay, and that is why we are trying to discuss at length this AI in particular. Okay, so human intelligence, basically, there are three dimensions of human intelligence. Okay, the very first dimension or the attribute associated with all of us is what they call it as the learning capabilities. Okay. So we are all lifelong learners. All of you will appreciate this. That is the human's ability to learn. So learning capabilities are the foremost part of this, you can say, human intelligence. Then the another important dimension is what they call it as the reasoning capabilities. Okay, so whenever you take some or the other decision, okay, you can very well reason it out that how you have arrived at that particular decision. So reasoning capability is the second part. Okay, you may extend this reasoning to comprehension capabilities, wherein we are capable of drawing some inferences based on the existing knowledge. Say, for example, if I give you the relationship between X and Y and Z, so you can very well deduce the relationship between X and Z. Right. So reasoning capability, comprehension capabilities, learning capabilities, these are the important attributes of human intelligence. And last but not the least is, let's say, when you have been trained in a particular domain, okay, you are capable of applying that knowledge, whatever you have acquired during training or learning, into altogether new or challenging situation. I'll give you a simple analogy, uh, which you will appreciate. Say, for example, whenever you learn how to drive a car, okay, most of the time your training school people normally take you to ideal conditions like, say, on highways or in playground, but you never face that kind of a scenario all the time. Okay, so it may be possible, let's say, you are driving in a downtown kind of a situation, okay, wherein you are facing huge traffic. So what do you do? Whether you call your trainer and ask him now what to do next, or you apply the knowledge, whatever you have acquired during training, to the altogether new or the challenging situation. So normally most of us, we go with the second option, and we know the functioning of accelerator, brake, and clutch, and all other, you can say, components involved in a motor car. and we apply it in our own way. Okay, many times we commit some mistake, but this is how we are capable of applying that knowledge, okay, whatever you have acquired during training or learning, into altogether new situation. And now let us try to relate it with artificial intelligence. Okay, so what is AI? Okay, what is AI or artificial intelligence in general? Okay, now again we are looking these things from a very broader perspective. See, as far as the first deliberation is concerned, first 1.5 hour is concerned. Okay, I will not use a lot of technical jargon. Okay, because I know I am addressing to faculty members from different discipline, right? So we will try to minimize on those front, but at the same time we need to understand what this technology is all about and how it has evolved. Okay, and from users perspective, the second important aspect of this particular session is to learn, okay, some of these tools. So users perspective will be the second important aspect of this particular session, right? So what is AI? AI is nothing but the study of mechanism that think and act like human. Okay, so thinking capabilities, just like we are capable of thinking, analyzing the things, and then acting upon those inputs and take some or the other decision, right? So the decision making, okay, acting is nothing but decision making. You take some or the other decision. That decision is again subject to right or wrong, but this is how we behave, right? And this is what they, in short, you may call it as a human behavior. So the bottom line of this AI is to simply mimic human behavior. Okay, mimic human behavior, meaning thereby all those dimensions of human intelligence which we have talked about, we need to incorporate those things into some machine. Okay, or to be very precise, in computer or maybe in electronic gadget and so on and so forth. Right. So this is what is AI is all about. Right. Now, having said this, let us move to some, you can say, the peculiar characteristics of an intelligent system. So there are four peculiar characteristics of an intelligent system. Whenever you wish to declare any system as an intelligent system, the system must possess these four peculiar characteristics. And what are they? The very first one is the intelligence. Okay, that is, system must perform some meaningful operation. Then it must be capable of interpreting information. Just like we as a human being, we are capable of interpreting the information, whatever has been presented to us. Then comprehension capabilities, I think, which I've already talked about. That is, if I give some relationship between some of the parameters, you can very well infer the relationship between some unknown parameters and so on. So comprehension capabilities, and last but not the least is applying the knowledge, whatever you have acquired during training, to altogether new situations or new conditions. So whenever you want to convert any dumb machine into an intelligent machine, we need to incorporate these four characteristics into it, right, to be very precise. Okay. Now, having said this, uh, most of us, we feel that this technology is altogether new. Okay, or this disruption is coming all of a sudden. Okay, many times it is also referred to as disruptive technology. Right, it is disrupting the way in which we used to work earlier. And to your surprise, it is not disrupting we people, those who are from edtech sector. Rather, it is disrupting almost everybody's life. Say, for example, if you are a chartered accountant, or if you are a lawyer, or if you are a medical professional, right? It is touching everybody's life, right? So there is no exception, as a matter of fact. But this technology is not at all new. If you look at the historical perspective of this technology, you will be surprised to note that this term, that is AI, it was very first time tossed by John McCarthy way back in 1956. Okay, and where it was tossed, the event was AI workshop, which took place in Dartmouth, United Kingdom. Okay, there is an institute, and premier institute, just like we have MIT and so on in US. Okay, on the similar line, this is one of the premier institute, one of the oldest institute in UK. And where this fellow, along with few of his colleagues, they have come up with this idea of AI. Okay, So 1956 to right now, we are into 2026. So you can very well compute how many years have passed. So what I'm trying to emphasize is it is not at all new. But the early AI systems were having very limited applications, and there were reasons to it. Okay, just because of the limitation of the hardware. Okay, it was bit difficult to build application using this technology. But what has happened probably last 2 decades, okay, we are having state of the art hardware available at our disposal, right? And that has made it possible to build hundreds of applications, okay, and that too without any computing background or computer programming knowledge or any knowledge about, and that I will try to prove, okay, probably in the second session, okay, wherein we will touch upon certain tools which are no code or zero code tools. So everything is nowadays, it is just on your click, okay. So we'll explore all those aspects. But if you look at the evolution of this AI, okay, it has started with traditional AI or classical AI. Then we moved into an era of what they call it as the machine learning. Then from machine learning to probably from 2006 onwards, we entered into an era of what they call it as the deep learning. And right now, we are in the era of wherein we are using a lot of generative AI tools. Okay, they are again referred to as Gen AI tool in short, right? Okay, right now we are into Gen AI, but it has started with traditional or the classical AI. Okay, so we'll just try to look at all these aspects in little bit greater detail. Okay, so let us start with what is traditional AI. So traditional AI or the classical AI systems where the systems wherein the computers were explicitly programmed for performing some activities or some tasks which humans have been able to. Okay, there are certain areas wherein we don't have uh, anybody else except the human being who are capable of performing those tasks. Okay, there are examples like say homeopathy expert, or maybe you may say playing chess. Okay, so it was bit difficult to you can say the uh, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm really sorry. Okay, okay, done. Okay, this mobile phone is another disruption we are having. Anyway, sorry for the interruption. So what we were talking about, we were talking about these systems were built based on the philosophy of interacting with the expert, human expert, asking them how do they solve a particular problem, okay? And based on their inputs, what we used to do, we used to write down programs, okay? And rather, to be very precise, statement in the form of if-then-else statement in some or the other high level language, like say Lisp or Prolog. Okay, early AI languages were Lisp, okay, or Prolog, right? These systems were built using those kind of a languages, but we need to program explicitly. Okay, we need to program explicitly. Some of the examples which were built using this traditional AI are like say playing chess, or maybe homeopathy expert for diagnosing a particular disease. Okay, or the simplest one is the washing machine. Okay, washing machine, or maybe if you look at the air conditioner, or say for example the microwave oven. On these lines, you have hundreds of electronic gadgets, okay, wherein the manufacturers claim that they are having some AI capability. Okay. So what was the idea? Let's say the idea was to simply look at the number of parameters. Say, for example, in case of washing machine, you are dealing with only 3 to 4 parameters, the type of clothes, okay, then the amount of detergent is to how much amount of detergent is to be mixed, how much hot and cold water is supposed to be mixed, and which particular washing mechanism one has to apply. This is what we do exactly whenever we wash clothes with our own hand, right? So the same thing can be automated by writing down around 27 or 30 odd rule, embedding those rules into a microcontroller, okay, and putting that microcontroller in the washing machine, which will take control of all the components involved in that washing machine, and it will convert that semi-automatic or automatic machine to a fully automatic or intelligent washing machine. Okay, that's why you must have seen that early washing machine, the manufacturer used to call them as fuzzy enabled or fuzzy logic or intelligent washing machine and so on, right? So this is all traditional AI. So that's why there were limited application, explicit programming, okay, and the development strategy was interacting with the expert working in that domain and framing certain rules, feeding all those rules into a machine and asking it to or automating a particular job. Okay, automation was the bottom line. Okay, but these traditional AI systems were having certain issues associated with them. What are all those issues? Let us have a look at. The very first issue was they were time intensive. Let's say if you are dealing with a very simple problem like washing clothes, okay, in that case, the number of rules are quite less, maybe around 27, 30 odd rules. So that is not there in that case. But let's say if you are dealing with a medical diagnostic system, okay, so in that case, definitely the permutation, combination, and the number of symptoms are in 100. Okay, so the complexity is high. So definitely you need to devise a rule base which is in thousands, okay, not in hundreds. Okay, so due to the size of the large rule base, these systems were quite time intensive. Earlier we used to have very slow machines. Okay, those machines for training those machines, I very well remember when I started working on handwritten numeral recognition. Okay, way back in 94, 95. Okay, and when I was working with Polytechnic, government Polytechnic, so those days, the training time was in days. Okay, because the machines were 802, 86, 386 with few MB of RAM. Okay, it was in MB, not in GBs. Okay, and again, limited hard disk capacity. Okay, very slow systems. Okay, and that's why the training time was very high, and that has basically restricted the development of this traditional AI into you can say some commercial application and so on. The another drawback was it doesn't generalize to new situation. Say for example, if you have developed a medical diagnostic system for uh, homeopath, and if you are facing a COVID-19 kind of a scenario, so if you fed the symptoms which you have captured from a patient, okay, to a homeopath uh, diagnostic system, what it will do, it will come up with the answer. Sorry, I am unable to diagnose. It is beyond the scope of my rule base. So no match kind of a scenario was possible in these systems, and that's why there were limited application. Another problem was that is we as a human being. This is a general phenomena, okay, applicable to all of us. We know more than we tell. Okay, so many times we tell less, and we know very many aspects. Okay, so this is also referred to as what they call as Parallelis paradox, right? So that is applicable to all human being, okay, which makes it difficult to develop these kind of a system, because the strategy was to interact with the human expert and based on the responses code those things in the form of if then else rules. So that was the another bottleneck. Then we cannot write down rules for all possible situations. Let's say, as I said, if you are having hundreds of parameters, okay, then you may have maybe in thousand you will have some permutation and combination. Okay, so for all those 100 parameters, so it was bit difficult to write down rules for all possible situation or all the possibilities, whatever domain you are into. Okay, and which may lead to what they call it as the combinatorial explosion. Okay, while dealing with, particularly dealing with complex problems. Simple problem, they were well suited, and that's why early AI systems were having some limited application, as I've already told you. But these were the issues associated with this traditional AI system. Then what has happened? We moved into an era of what they call it as the machine learning. So what is machine learning is all about? Now, in case of machine learning, what do we do? We do not explicitly program. That is, we do not write any rules in the form of if then else. Okay. Instead, okay, we fed the computer with hundreds, or you can say the thousands of examples of input output data pair. Let's say in case of medical diagnostic, okay, what you will do, you will feed all the 100 parameters, or rather, you can say symptoms of a particular disease along with the output. That is, if the symptoms values are like this, the probable disease is like this. Okay, so you know the input and you know the output. So this way, whatever you can say number of pairs you have, all those things you fed into the computer and asking it to learn. Now, how do they learn? They learn by using or by deploying some or the other statistical techniques. It is pure mathematics. Okay, again, we will not go into those aspects, but we need to know as a user. So some or the other statistical techniques can be used. And what is the underlying philosophy to do so is to learn the relationship between the inputs and the outputs. You know, so what exactly we are trying to do? We are feeding the computers with thousands of records, okay, in the form of input-output pair, and using some or the other statistical technique to learn the relationship between the input and the output. Okay. Now, once you are done with that, okay, you can declare that the training is over. Now, once this is over, okay, what you can do, you can expose the system with some altogether new input, which you haven't given earlier. Okay. So, say for example, just like earlier systems, we used to get something like, it is beyond the scope of my rule base, unable to diagnose. Okay. But these machine learning based systems, they will never ever come up with that kind of answer. Rather, it will try to diagnose and it will try to come up with some or the other disease. And that is exactly whenever you approach a medical practitioner, what do? Right? They ask you a number of questions based on your responses. They record all those symptoms and diagnose some X, Y, and Z or Z disease to you. Right? And then go on treating you on those lines. But that again, that diagnosis may be right or wrong. That's why we go for a second opinion and so on, right? So again, these systems will never ever say, sorry, I am unable to diagnose. It will diagnose some or the other disease. Maybe it will diagnose, if you give COVID-19 kind of symptoms, it will come up with the answer, you are suffering from typhoid or malaria or maybe some viral disease, whatever possibilities are there. Okay. So what I am trying to emphasize is, these machines are capable of responding to new or challenging situations, just like you and I, we are capable of doing so, right? So, but again, uh, now, what are the possibilities with regard to you can say the statistical techniques? So these many techniques are there. These are all standard techniques. Those who are from mathematics, they must be well acquainted with this, like say linear regression, logistic regression, classification and regression, support vector machine or SVM in short, okay, random forest, then gradient descent approach is there. Now, if you look at the mathematics behind this gradient descent, you will be surprised to note that it was proposed way back in 1880. So the roots of this AI they are quite deep. Okay, one should not feel that it has all of a sudden it has emerged, right? It is nothing like that. Okay, the gradient descent was the mathematical foundation of this gradient descent approach was proposed way back in 1880. Okay, and the most common you can say the statistical technique is what they call it as the neural network. Okay. So all the large language models, like say ChatGPTs or DeepSeek, okay, they are using this neural network as the base model or the foundation model. We'll touch upon those aspects as well. But we will explore this neural network in little bit detail, because it is basically inspired from the structure of human brain. Okay, neural networks, or to be very precise, artificial neural network or ANN in short, are basically inspired from the structure of human brain. Okay, and that's why we will explore this. But before that, we need to know what are the limitation, or rather what are the issues associated with this machine learning. Okay, so rather there is only one issue, one major problem associated with this issue, this machine learning approach was that is we have to have structured data. If you recall, somewhere I have told you that is we need to have input output data set. Okay, that is for the value of these parameters, this input and this is the output. So we know the input and output both. And to be very precise, okay, we have to have numeralized value. Okay, say for example, but it is not possible in all the cases. Just like we are considering in our case, the medical diagnostic system, okay, wherein not necessarily you will have all the values in the form of numbers. Okay, even if they are in numbers, again, these systems demand that it should be between 0 and 1. Okay, so for achieving these things, what we need to do is we need to pre-process this data. So pre-processing is the overhead associated with this. Say for example, in case of medical diagnostics system, okay, the value of temperature is double digit. And as I have told you, that is we have to have values between 0 and 1. So what we need to do is we need to divide that number by some constant like say 10 or 100, okay, depending upon the number of digits, okay, or maybe 1000 if it is a 4-digit number. And if certain values are in text, again, we need to convert those text into computation ready numbers. Okay, and again, those numbers should be converted to be very precise between 0 and 1. And then you can feed those values to the machine, okay, for machine learning purpose. Okay, so we have to have structured data and then data which can be numeralized and to be very precise between 0 and 1. Okay, so many times we need to perform some sort of pre-processing of data, okay, for achieving this. Okay, I hope this is a fair overhead associated with it. Without that, you cannot proceed further. Okay, it's simply impossible to proceed further. Right. Now, having said this, neural networks, I have told you somewhere, the most popular approach, which is the building block of ChatGPT or any large language model, is the neural network. So what is there in a neural network? But as I've told you that they are all biologically inspired structures. Okay, they are the structure of this artificial neural network is inspired from the structure of the human brain. So in human brain, we have neurons. Okay, and this way we have got millions of neurons and they are all connected with each other. Okay, and if you look at a structure of a particular neuron, you will find something like this. That is the input to these neuron is given through these dendrites. Okay, some processing is carried out in the cell body, and whatever is the output, it is given as input to the next neuron in the network. Okay, and it goes through some axon. So we have these are the inputs, these are the output, and somewhere here we perform some sort of computation. On the similar line, we have an artificial neural network. Okay, artificial neural network. What is it? This is the neuron X1 and X2. Okay, now with each neuron, okay, there is a weight associated. Okay, so these due to these weights, the neural networks basically learn. So weights are responsible for learning abilities or capabilities of neural network. Then this is why is the output, as we used to have axon in the biological neuron. Then what do we do while training? We try to derive some equation like this. Okay, that is some equation which is in the form of some sort of relationship between the input and the output. Say for example, in this case, y is equal to 0.32x1 plus 0.77x2. So we are trying to learn some sort of equation between the input and the output. How do we do that? Okay, that we'll see. No, this is a basic building block, one neuron only. Okay, it is called a single layer perceptron. Okay, or to be very precise, it is a binary neuron. Okay, binary neuron. This can be used for solving XOR problem or the problems of similar sort, wherein you have got only two input and one output. Okay. All right. So this is single layer perceptron, but this is not sufficient to when you are dealing with complex problem. So we have a structured, what they call it as the multi-layer perceptron, or MLP in short. Okay. Now this is the structure of a multi-layer perceptron. In brief, again, without using a lot of technical jargons, okay, we'll just try to understand how the training normally took place in an artificial neural network, right? So these are the inputs x0 to xn. Okay, let's say in case of handwritten numeral, if you are extracting 40 odd features from the handwritten numerals, okay, all those feature value will be given as input through this x0 to x39 as the input. Okay, then with each x0 we have a w0 associated, right? So x0 w0 x1 w1 up to x39 w39. Okay, then what do? We simply sum up these things, okay, which is summation of x0 into w0 plus x1 into w1 up to x39 into w39. So xi wj, summation xi wj, I and j equals to 1 to n. Okay, that is the simple formula, okay, which is being used with what we call it as the weighted sum of these two input vector and the weight vector. Okay, what next? Then whatever is the output, it goes through some activation function. Okay, some activation function. Again, I will not go into the details, but we need to know as a user that there are hundreds of, you can say, activation function. It is a non-linearity through which it passes. Okay, and then you get some or the other output. But the most popular activation functions are ReLU or sigmoidal function, or some of the variant of these two. Okay, but there are many, like say hard limiter, and there are so many. Okay, RAM function is there and so on. Okay, but this is how the structure is all about. Then what do when we start training this neural network? We input all those values, okay, 40 feature values, which is between 0 and 1, okay, to the network. Okay, and initially we start with some random weight. Now this random weight may be anything between 0 and 1. So let us start with 0.5, okay, which is a mean of 0 and 1, okay, and that just try to compute the output. Let's say when you computed the output after performing all these weighted sum and passing through some activation function, okay, you are getting 0.8 as the output. Okay, the actual output you are getting as the 0.8, whereas the desired output is 1.0. Okay, so the desired output is 1.0, actual output you are getting is 0.8, meaning thereby there is an error of 1 minus 0.8, that is 0.2. Now our objective during training, what do? We try to minimize this error, or ideally we try to make it 0. Okay, now what we can do in the training, now we cannot change the inputs. Okay, input will remain constant. The only thing we can change is the value of these weights. So earlier we have started with 0.5. Now you have two possibilities. One is either you may increase it or you may decrease it. Okay, let us try to increase it by 0.1. So earlier all these weight values were 0.5. Now let us make it 0.6 and again compute the output. Okay, when you do so, and let us presume that you are getting 0.9 as the output, actual output. Okay, whereas the desired output is again 1.0. Okay, now earlier it was 0.8, now it has been reduced to, earlier it was 0.2, the error was 0.2, 1 minus 0.8. Now the error is 1 minus 0.9, that is 0.1. So meaning thereby we are in the right direction. So what do? We go on increasing the weight, okay, till we get the value of this error as 0.000000, right? And at that point of time, we stop training. We declare that the training is over. And whatever are the values of weight at that point of time, we declare that the weights are normalized and the training is over. Okay. So this is how we carry out the training. So when you cycle through from this input to the output, it is called as one epoch or one iteration. So this way you may set the value of epoch or iteration as 500, 1000, 1500 and so on, right? So what has happened in this case, that is we have trained it weights are normalized. Now you expose the system to altogether new number. Okay. Say, for example, in the while training, you have used my handwriting sample for the training purpose. Now you are not asking me to write, okay, in natural way. You are asking somebody else, and you are giving those as an input to this particular network. What it will do, it will learn based on the learning is already over. So it will test it. So that is called as testing data. Testing data can be altogether different from the training data. Okay, usually we use, let's say we have 10,000 records, so we use 8,000 record for training and 2,000 record for testing. Okay, this is typically, or maybe 75-25 or 70-30. That proportion all depends upon your trial and error. Okay, so we test it, so it will give you some or the other answer. That answer, again, I am not saying that all the time you will get the right answer. Okay, that answer is subject to right or wrong. Okay, because in the classroom environment, whenever you teach a student, okay, the numerals from 0 to 9, may be possible that some of them they confused in many times in some numbers, and they may give you some wrong answer. So, but these systems will never ever come up with a no match kind of a thing. Okay, it will give you some or the other answer. That is the beauty of it. Okay, so this is multi-layer, you can say perceptron, and the training. Again, there are three important types of training. What they call it as the supervised training, unsupervised training, and reinforcement training. Supervised is when you know the input and output both. Okay, as we have considered in our case. But let's say in some of the cases you know the input, but you don't know the output. So that is unsupervised. Okay, you know the input, but you don't know the output. Output is unknown. That is unsupervised. And there is one more category which is very popular. What they call it as the reinforcement training. Okay, wherein you may consider the analogy of this reinforcement training as you can say whenever a small kid learn how to walk. Okay, he uh, do so by trial and error. So learning by trial and error is nothing but the reinforcement. Okay, and that is most of the time all the LLM they exploit some or the other variant of reinforcement training. ठीक है, तो तीन प्रकार की ट्रेनिंग हमने देखी है यहाँ पे, that is supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement. Now, again, I am not going into the details because there are a lot of mathematics involved. Okay, now let us jump into what they call it as the deep learning. Okay, we have talked about classical AI, then machine learning, then from 2006 onwards, this new term has been tossed. Okay, what they call it as a deep learning architecture. Okay, so what is deep learning? As a matter of fact, deep learning is nothing but you can say machine learning on the bottom line. Okay, which we have already discussed. That is neural networks. The only difference is in case of deep learning, the number of layers are quite high. They are in hundreds or maybe in thousands many times, right? Okay, so to address the complex problem, instead of going for machine learning, we go for what they call it as the deep learning architecture. Okay, and deep learning architecture on the bottom line, it is machine learning only. The only difference is the number of layers are quite large. Okay, quite large. Now, from the user's perspective, okay, if you recall, in case of machine learning, the limitation was we have to have numeralized data. But in case of deep learning, we don't require numeralized data. Rather, if you have that kind of a data, there's no problem. But you may go ahead with unstructured data as well. So it is not merely structured data, that is the data which is in the form of numbers or numeralized. Okay, but again, you may give some unstructured data like say your images. Okay, unstructured meaning there were images, right? So you can give in structured as well as unstructured data. So we are moving ahead, okay, in terms of functionality or capabilities, right? And what about the output? Output is still once again structured data. And the best example is what you are using in your day-to-day life of this deep learning is the unlocking your mobile with your face recognition. Okay. So what is it exactly? Basically, whenever you purchase a new handset, what do? You expose your face from different angle. Okay. switch on the camera and expose your face from different angle. What it does, basically it captures all the features from your face, okay, and that is training basically, okay. And those values are stored in some deep learning algorithm. So whenever next time, once you have trained it, okay, in the next run, what do? You again switch on your mobile and the camera goes on. Okay, it captures your image. Okay, again, it captures your features and it will try to compare those features with the features stored in the DL algorithm, right? If it matches, okay, it will unlock your mobile phone, or the other way around, you will get some error message, okay, that unable to recognize, okay. Then it will ask you to key in some code, okay, for unlocking your mobile phone. Maybe 2 or 3 attempts. After 3 attempts, okay, it will ask you to key in the code, right? So that is the best example. So what is deep learning? Deep learning is whenever you are capturing some data, real-time data through some sensors or cameras, okay, giving as an input to the DL algorithm and asking it to classify it as the, you can say the authorized person or unauthorized person in case of this unlocking of mobile through face recognition, right? So deep learning, the output is still again structured only, okay. Then we moved into, now this is the last block. Okay, this is the last block of the evolution of AI. This is the era we are into. Okay, that is the generative AI or Gen AI in short. Right. So what are all generative AI is all about is it is a small subset of AI. So if you just recall, AI is a superset. Then we have the next layer as the machine learning, then the deep learning, and then under that deep learning we have a small subset, what we call it as a generative AI. Okay. Even though it is a small subset of AI, okay, if you look at the capabilities of this Gen AI tool, you will be shocked, okay, in certain aspect. Okay, these tools are capable of creating new original content. Okay, what do I mean by new original content? Let's say I want to write a research article which didn't exist before. So I may do so by using these Gen AI tools, and that is the real threat, right, to all of us. Now, whether to use these tools, again, it's a $1 billion question, right? As on date, we don't have any regulatory guidelines either from UGC or AICTE or MCI, right? We do not have any guideline with regard to the usage of AI. Okay. So, but definitely in due course of time, the government is very serious about it. Okay. Probably yesterday I was going through Times of India article wherein the MIT, that is Ministry of IT, has set up a committee to come up with some legislation in this regard. So probably within a few months or year, okay, we'll have some landmark policy in this regard. But as on date, we do not have any regulatory guidelines. But these tools, generative AI tools, are capable of creating new original content, okay, images, okay, not only content like say in the form of text, but you can create images as well, okay, or you may compose music. Okay, let's say if you are giving a song, asking any Gen AI tool to compose a music for it, okay, it will do it quite easily, okay, without any, it is a hassle-free activity for that particular tool because it has already learned, that is, learn the way in which you can say A.R. Rahman used to compose or Anu Malik used to compose or all, right, legendary musicians. Okay, so it has got all those patterns. You may ask to use a style of a particular musician as well, okay, and so on. But it will do it for you. Okay. So, and that is the real threat. Okay. So this is basically the all these tools, they are challenging your innovative and creative capabilities. You know, innovation and creativity. Okay, that was associated with human intelligence only. That is being challenged by these tools, and that is the real threat. Okay. So again, you may have a argument okay, sir, it should be banned. Okay, and in some countries, okay, I don't know exactly, but in some EU countries, European Union countries, the usage of these tools, few of these tools is completely banned. Okay, and the reasons are obvious, which we have discussed just now. Okay, but these tools are capable of doing so. Okay, so how do they do it? They do it based on the patterns and structure learned from existing data. Okay, whatever inputs they have their existing data, and based on that, they are capable of generating altogether new content. Now, from users' perspective, what are the possibilities with regard to Gen AI tool? Earlier, we were having, with regard to you can say the deep learning, the output was still structured only. Okay, but in case of generative AI, it is from unstructured to unstructured. That is, input is unstructured and the output is also unstructured. Okay, meaning thereby you can give a text or a image or a combination of a text and an image as an input, and you can expect either a text or a image or a combination or whatnot from these tools. So we have multi-dimensional mapping in this case, unstructured to unstructured. So that has led to the possibilities like these, like say you can give a text, okay, ask it to generate an image. Okay, so you may write a prompt, okay, asking it to generate prompt, that too again you are in natural language. Okay, no computer background is needed, no computing language is required. Okay, simply write in your native language or English. Even some of these tools are capable of understanding your local language as well, Hindi or Marathi, right? So give it in the form of text, ask it to generate an image. We'll have certain you can say hands-on on these functionalities. Then image to set text is again possible. Okay, give an image, ask it to generate some sort of a text. Then text to music is possible, text to text is possible, which is nowadays new normal. Okay, this is how we interact with chat GPT. For every small problem we ask the chat GPT and ask it to work for us. Okay, so text to text is the most common one. Okay, but these tools are capable of doing all these things quite easily. Okay, now to sum up, that is the real power of this Gen AI is basically the multi-modal functionality. That is text plus image as the input to the text plus image as the output. Multi-modal. Okay. Text plus image, not only image, you can give a video. Okay. Or any multimedia. So any type of file, supported file can be given as input. Okay. They will accept it and they are capable of processing all those things quite easily. Okay. So having said this, all these tools, okay, whatever tools we will discuss, none of these tools are completely free. Okay, and there are reasons to it. Okay, because their training cost is tremendously high. Okay, this is the data which I have captured from Stanford University AI Index, again quite old, 2024. Okay, when ChatGPT 4 or 5 was launched, right? So if you look at the figures, okay, you will be surprised to note that the GPT-3, the training cost was US dollar 4.3 million. Okay, GPT-4 78.4 million US dollar. Gemini Ultra 191.4 million US dollar. So their training cost is quite high, and that's why none of these tools are available free of cost. Okay, you need to go for a paid subscription for these tools, right? Okay, but there are solutions to it. We'll discuss all those solutions as well, wherein we have certain things on free and open source philosophy, certain models, okay, which you can definitely download and you can play with all those tools. But the beta version of these tools are free. Okay, for example, right now probably GPT-3 is available free of cost. Okay, so when the model gets older, okay, you get it free of cost. Okay, but the new models definitely you need to pay for it. And again, it all depends what kind of usage is there, whether it is academic or research. Okay, you may get some subsidized subscription rates, but let's say if it is for commercial purpose, the rates are quite high. Now, we'll just try to sum up what we have seen, starting from you can say the traditional AI to the Gen AI, and how do they differ, right? So the traditional AI, basically, if you look at the primary goal, pattern recognition and classification. In case of generative AI, we are having creativity, okay, creation and synthesis. Okay, so creativity is the new attribute which is associated with this Gen AI, right? Then what about the output type? Predetermined label or predictions. Okay, but in case of generative AI, it is new original content, like say text, images, etc. Okay, what about the data usage? It analyzes the data, whereas Gen AI basically learns from the data. Okay, and in case of interaction, it was only one way from input to the result, whereas in case of generative AI, it is interactive and conversational. So many times, whenever you are interacting with a Gen AI tool, okay, you feel as if you are interacting with someone sitting on the other side, okay, in a conversational manner. Okay, and that is the real power of this Gen AI tool. Okay, so earlier we were having only limited application. Now that's why we are having hundreds of applications. What you need to do is you need to train it with your own data. Okay, the tool will, and most of these tools are general purpose. Okay, you may adopt it for your own organization by training it, and so on and so forth. So, but whether this means that there are no problems associated with these tools, what is your take? What do you feel? Gen AI tool is the end of the story? No, I'm intentionally taking a break. I would love to know whether we are going as per our as per your expectations or not. So, what is your take on this? Whether Gen AI tool is the end of the story? Whether we don't have any problem as far as the Gen AI tool is are concerned? Archana Jadhav, madam, very informative session. Actually, I'm yeah. Uh, Hello. I hope all of you are with me. It's a good number,
Yes, sir.
probably 80, yeah, 87 participants are there. So whether generative AI tools, ChatGPT or any LLM, whether they suffer from some or the other problem, anybody would like to comment? What are the limitations? Okay, again, these tools are having limitation, lot of limitation, I tell you. The limitations are in the form of, oh, you must have heard, some of you, what they call it as the hallucination. Hallucination meaning thereby, it is very similar to whenever you interact with your student in a viva voce examination, the student don't know whether you are able to see my slides. Are we connected?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And the slides are visible, sir?
Yes,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Traditional AI versus generative AI.
Yeah. So what I was referring to, that is the generative AI is again having a lot of problems. Okay, so one of the biggest problem is what they call it as the hallucination. Hallucination meaning thereby, even if the tool doesn't know, okay, it will try to give you the wrong answer. Okay, again, okay, the hallucination is all about that. Okay, second important problem is all these tools, they have got some cutoff date. They are all pre-trained model. And a ChatGPT, for example, 4. It was trained, let us assume that it was trained in December 2025. So whatever has happened from December 2025 to this July 2026, that is not known to the tool. So you may get some inappropriate answer. So cutoff date is the another issue. Okay, hallucination is the another issue. And it doesn't know about you or your organization. Okay, they don't know about you. Okay, who is interacting. For tool, it is some user. Okay, doesn't know whether Muhammad Atiq is interacting or Archana Jadhav or maybe Sham Misr sir or Dr. Bhushan, whosoever is interacting. For tool, it is a user. Okay, so what you need to do is, if you want to adapt it for your organizational purpose, you need to retrain it. Okay, so we need to address all these issues using, you can say, certain approaches. Okay, and one of the approach is what they call it as the RAG. Okay, one of the approach is what they call it as the RAG, that is retrieval augmented generation. So wherein we will fine tune these tools with our own data, maybe personal data, organizational data, so that we will not face all these problems, what they call it as the hallucination or the knowledge cutoff, or you may say that it doesn't know about you or your organization, and so on and so forth. But these tools again has got lot of issues associated with them. And that's why many times we complain, and we complain that we are not satisfied with the outputs and so on. Okay. But what are the core components of this Gen AI? What are the important components of this Gen AI? Is the very first component is what they call it as the foundation model or the base model. Okay, which is typically trained on massive diverse data set. That is what I was referring to. Okay, they are trained on huge database, so that's why the training cost is quite high. Okay, your CPU will not be sufficient. You have to have GPUs, that too in hundreds or thousands. Okay, one single GPU is again not sufficient to deal with the amount of data which is being used for training these models. Okay, and that is the real problem, and that's why the cost is high. Okay, the training cost is high. And one typical example of this foundation model is what you used in your day-to-day life is the large language model or ChatGPT. And what is the potential of this LLM? They are capable of understanding natural language. है ना? अब आपको computer programming सीखने की जरूरत नहीं है. In what way you can interact with these tools? You can interact with these tools in your English natural language. Okay, and okay, some way or the other we are all very good at that. Okay, so you have to write your question in the form of some natural language, give it, and what kind of output you can expect from all these LLMs. They are excellent in writing, translation, and summarization. So earlier we used to have positions of translators in government departments. Now I don't think that you require those many translators. Okay, because you have a soft copy of this stuff, okay, in any language, okay, and you want to translate it any other Indian language or any language internationally, you can do so within no time. Okay, within no time. Okay, so translation, writing, and let's say if you want to summarize huge documents, okay, that can be done again quite easily with the help of these large language tools. But that is not all. These large language tools are capable of predicting the next word in the sequence. Okay, that is the another important dimension of these large language models. And what are all these large language models? They are nothing but the neural network, which we have discussed at length in our session. Okay, so it is a neural network which is trained to predict the next word in an input sequence. Say, for example, if I give to any LLM, you may replace that LLM by ChatGPT or DeepSeek. Okay, all that glitters, it will come up with the answer is not gold. So predictive capability, okay, predicting the next word in the sequence is the new normal as far as these tools are concerned. And I hope all of you will appreciate that this will require some sort of intelligence. Right? All of you agree. Okay, it is not that easy. Okay, there is a lot of things involved. We'll just try to digest all those aspects as well. Then there is a transformer. Foundation model we have already talked about, okay, which are trained on massive data. Then what is transformer? These transformers has got the attention mechanism. Okay, what is it? It allows the model to understand the relationship between words or data points. So in a statement, in a prompt, okay, whatever you are typing, these attention mechanism is capable of understanding those words or the data points and the underlying context. Okay, underlying context. Okay, so that is very important to note. So this transformer is the another core component of this Gen AI tool. Then what do? We go for training and fine tuning, okay, which I think I have already talked about. That is, many times you need to train it with your own data or fine tune it with your own data. That can be done quite easily. Then this is a life cycle of a Gen AI wherein we have pre-training, then fine tuning, drawing some inferences, okay, by means of typing some prompts and asking it to craft the answers for you. And how do they improve? They improve by continuous feedback. Okay, so there is a built-in mechanism, feedback mechanism, which makes them to improve on their performance. Okay, so this is a typical life cycle of a Gen AI. Now, some powerful GenAI models, okay, which you must be well acquainted with, like say GPT series, which is a product of OpenAI. Okay, what are the capabilities of this GPT series? The conversational ability. Okay, DALI, wherein you may expect some sort of creative output. Okay, creative AI. Okay, then IBM's Granite is there. Okay, then Cloud and Gemini is there, which is also called as the next gen AI. But all these Gen AI tools suffers from one another big uh, problem, what they call it as the black box. Okay, so what is a black box problem? Whenever you interact with these tools, okay, you give some prompt. Okay, what it will do, it will process that prompt and it will give you some answer. Okay, but nobody in the world knows how that tool has arrived at that particular answer. That is not known to anybody in the world. Okay, I underline anybody in the world. Okay, why? Let's say you and I, it is a bit difficult. Okay, but let's say if you ask the OpenAI people, okay, OpenAI, or let's say OpenAI people forward your query to the development team, again they will come up with a big no on all those lines. Why? Because the complexity of these tool is so high, that is, there are hundreds of layers and millions of neurons. So nobody knows what is happening within that box. And that is why that box or that LLM tool is referred to as a black box. Okay, it is referred to as a black box. And that is the reason why these tools are not again so popular when it comes to critical applications like say medical diagnosis, or maybe you may say some warfare usage. Okay, so these tools are still evolving, what I'm trying to emphasize. Now, what is the solution to this black box? The solution is to convert that black box into a transparent box. Okay, so by adding a additional block, what they call it as the explainable AI, okay, or the responsible AI nowadays, right? These are the key terms which are tossed. Okay, what they are aimed at? They are aimed at improving the transparency in the decision making. Okay, by giving justification how a particular tool has diagnosed a particular disease or taken a particular decision, okay, in a completely transparent and trustworthy manner. Okay, so these tools are having these problems. Okay, and that is whatever solution I have told you, that is the research area nowadays. Okay, most of the tools, they are adding up that explainable component to it and making it more transparent and so on. Now, let us come to our focal point as far as today's deliberation is concerned, right? So, what are the use cases when it comes to education and research uh, in particular, and let's say all other areas in general, right? So, in education, we do have a lot of use cases of these tools, like say auto-generating lesson plan. I want to generate auto lesson plan for my institution. I can build application that too within no time, I tell you. Okay, I will show you this within when we'll go ahead with our demonstration part, wherein you may download uh, uh, anti-gravity uh, model of Google and simply write a prompt in English. Okay, asking it to generate a lesson plan or build an application for generating a lesson plan, creating quizzes, and providing smart tutoring system. It will do it for you within no time, right? So those days are gone, wherein people used to hire coders, okay, or the technical persons, okay, expert in a particular domain, and get these things done from them. Okay, now these tools are no code or zero code tool, wherein you are not supposed to write a single line of a code, and still you can get the result. Okay, then for research, summarizing dense research paper, that is the another area. Okay, and assisting in academic publication, okay, for research. Again, there are some gray areas which we'll talk on later on. Okay, that is up to what extent you can use it for research. Okay, that is the big question mark is there. So we'll talk on those lines as well. Then for marketing, healthcare, and finance, definitely you can use it. Okay, all other areas, but our focal point would be education and research. Now, as I said, that is while working with all these tools, we are working with some or the other large language model. So, what are the key characteristics of these large language model? The very first characteristic of this large language model is they are capable of understanding the text. So text understanding is the integral part of this large language model. Okay, but how do they do it? Okay, these algorithms, they are capable of processing the words, sentence, and not merely word and sentence, but they go one step beyond. That is the context in which those prompts have been crafted. Okay. So merely words, sentence, definitely sentences are comprised of words, but the context, this third dimension is very important. And definitely this requires some sort of intelligence. Okay. Then we have, what do they do with this prompt? Okay, they are capable of generating text. But what kind of text they are capable of generating? Okay, you will be surprised to note that they are capable of generating text which is coherent and contextually relevant, okay, based on the input queries, okay, which is not that easy, right? So these are the two important characteristics of these large language model. Now, how do these LLM works? Okay, these LLM basically works in 5 steps. Okay, the very first step is what they call it as the tokenization. So in tokenization, what do? We broke and down text into, you can say, small chunks or units, or you may call them as tokens from, you can say, LLM point of view. Okay. So each prompt is comprised of, let's say, few words. Okay. So let us assume that in a prompt you have written around 20 odd words, then definitely you will have 20 odd token. So for simplicity, you may assume that each word is considered as one token. But ideally, it is not so, because let's say if you add ing into a particular word, the meaning changes, or if you add es to a particular word, the meaning changes, or the context changes. Okay. So in that case, that ing will be considered as another token. So that's why many times the number of tokens are more than the number of words. Okay. Second is the embedding. Now, what is embedding? The tokens are converted into numerical vectors. Okay. So it is not possible to process words as it is by the computer. Okay. So what we need to do is we need to convert them into number. Okay. This I think probably we have talked about when discussing machine learning in general. Right. There also I have told you that is all the parameters needs to be processed so that you have numbers between 0 and 1, right? So that it can be processed by the machine, right? Embedding is nothing but that. Okay, it is converting the words into numerical vectors so that it can be processed by the computers. Then we have a self attention mechanism. So the model assesses which parts of the text are most important. Okay, just like in the examination when you are appearing, okay, you know, whenever a question is there, like say explain this question mark and then justify. So the total question, let us assume that carries 6 marks. So you very well know that the first part, that is explanation, carries 4, and the 2 marks are reserved for the justification, right? So if you miss the justification, you will lose those 2 marks, right? So you underline that justification, and somewhere in the answer, you will just try to address that issue. Okay. So on the similar line, these tools are capable of identifying what is important, okay, for crafting the answer, and accordingly, it will craft the answer based on those important keywords. Okay. Then next is the predictive capability. Okay, these model predicts the next word, which I have already shown you, right? That is, we have seen an example. Okay, then response generation is the fifth step, wherein the model generates the response, and what kind of a response, that we have already seen. That is coherent and contextually relevant response. Okay, so these are the 5 steps. Again, these are not, you can say this is common to all. This is not specific to ChatGPT or any LLM. These are applicable to almost all the large language models. This is how they function. Okay, to be very precise. Okay, now the training funnel. Okay, we have data input. Okay, you give the massive data in the form of text or numbers. Okay, by um, adopting some sort of pre-processing mechanism. Then you pre-train it, then definitely you need to fine-tune it for adapting to a specific, you can say, domain or organization. Okay, and then at the end we have an inference. Okay, they are deployed for the usage wherein they are capable of prediction and classification and those things. Right. Now we are left with what? We are left with only one thing, that is how to write a precise and effective prompt without making any compromises on the output. Okay. So how to write a precise prompt? This has given birth to altogether new area of engineering, what they call it as the prompt engineering. Again, there are hundreds of prompt engineering techniques. Okay, we'll not talk about all, but as a user, we need to know few basic techniques. Okay, so maybe in maybe next 10 minutes, okay, we'll just try to wind up these fundamental aspects. So how to write a precise prompt? Why I'm saying precise? Because if you use more number of you can say words, the number of tokens will be more. So it will consume more token, which will lead to, you can say, the usage of that tool. Okay, because the licensing mechanism is based on many times. Again, tokens are very crucial. Okay, that is again some of these tools, they come up with some predefined limit of token. That is, you cannot go beyond 1 million token per chat. Okay, per chat, I am saying. Okay, that is the another limitation. Again, that is addressed by drag, whatever we were referring to. Okay, so we have ideally, that is the very first type of prompt engineering technique is what they call it as the zero shot prompting. So wherein you don't give any example. Okay, and this is the way in which most of us we interact with these tools. That is, we don't give any example, we fire a direct question to it and asking it to craft an answer for us. Okay, and that's why many times most of us, okay, we get very generic response, and then you get disappointed. You feel, what is the use of this tool? Very, this is nothing new in that, right? So it is very similar to Google search, right? But it is not like that. Okay, if you give one example, okay, if you give one example and ask it to generate the response with the same prompt, okay, you will get more tailored response. Okay, I'll give you one simple analogy to understand this. Let's say you are manufacturing a motorcycle. Okay, you are new into the market. Okay, and you want to craft a tagline for your product. Okay, and let us assume that your competitor is Hero Honda. So if you give an example of Hero Honda tagline, like say, fill it, forget it, and now you are asking it, now you are giving specification about your motorcycle, and now you are asking it to generate a tagline for your own product. So what will happen in this case? Okay, from the example, the tool will understand that the user want a very apt answer. Okay, not more than 4 or 6 words at max. Each word must depict some or the other USP of that particular product. Okay, and this way it will craft the answer. So you will get maybe 6 or 8 words tagline, okay, which is in line with your competitor, okay, which you can definitely use it for your own purpose, right? So that is called as a one shot prompting. So this way, if you give one example, okay, it will you will get more tailored responses, but you may give more than one. So if you are giving 2 or 3, it is called as few shot prompting. It is called as few shot prompting. So you may give more than one. Okay. One shot I have already explained. Then few shot, if it is more than one, that is 2 or 3, definitely you will get more tailored responses in that case. Another prompt engineering technique is what they call it as the role prompting. So in case of role prompting, what do? We assign a role or persona to a tool. Okay, we say Assume you are a vice chancellor of a university, or assume you are a DM of Ghaziabad in Uttar Pradesh. Okay, and then you ask your query. So what will happen? You will get more tailored responses. Okay, because it will assume that role, and accordingly it will search the various relevant stuff, and it will craft the answer for you. So you may assign a role of a research assistant as well. And you may say, if I assume you are a research assistant for executing this project, and now, okay, so that is there. Okay, that is the another third technique. Fourth one is the chain of thought prompting. Okay, wherein you break down a task into smaller one. Okay, it's one step after another, allowing the AI to reason through intermediate step, and then it will be providing you the final answer. So that is chain of thought prompting, COT. Okay, then meta prompting, wherein you are asking the tool to generate its own prompt for you. But this is little bit, this requires more expert level of reasoning and sophisticated responses. But again, the tools are capable of doing so, right? You will be surprised to note this. Then tree of thought is there, okay, wherein it will explore multiple possible reasoning paths. Let's say I want to move from my place to Chandur Railway. Okay, it will explore 2, 3 possible paths, and it will give me the most optimal path in terms of road condition, traffic condition, tolls, and so on. So the optimization, right? So accordingly, whatever question you are asking, it will compute, okay, or rather compare 3 to 4 possible answers, and it will give you the most optimal answer. Okay, that is tree of thought prompting. Then prompt changing, wherein you are giving in the form of sequence one after another. Okay, what they call it as a multi-step reasoning and so on. Now, apart from prompt engineering techniques, there are few parameters we must be concerned about. What are all those parameters? The first parameter is what they call it as the temperature. Okay. Now, many times, okay, we get disappointed, okay, because you don't know how value of these parameters are basically set. I'll show you that is how to set it. It is not so difficult. Okay, it is quite easy. Okay, you can simply drag and drop, okay, the filter, and accordingly set the values. Okay, so the very first parameter is the temperature. Okay, very first parameter is the temperature. The value of this temperature, it ranges between 0 to 2. So if you keep it small, the answers you will get will be less creative, okay, or less random, okay, less randomness or less creative. It controls the randomness or creativity. So if you want to have more creative responses from the tool, you need to set it on higher side, like say 1.5 or 2.0. So if you make it 2.0, you will get more creative stuff. Prompt will remain same. Okay, the same prompt, if you simply vary the value of this temperature, you can feel the difference. Okay, so the value of temperature is basically directly proportional to the creativity or the randomness aspect of the temperature. Second is the max token, okay, which defines the length of the response. Okay, longer token limits result in more detailed answer. If you give longer limit, definitely you will get more detailed answer. So you can control it by setting this max token appropriately. Then top P, okay, which determines how many potential words the AI considers when generating its response. Okay, you want to craft a abstract wherein the number of words are only 180 to 200. Okay, so you may do so by setting up this thing, right? Then frequency penalty and presence penalty. Like say, if you want to avoid redundancy in your responses, many times we have a complaint. This is very common that many stuff is being repeated again and again. Okay, so if you want to avoid that redundancy, you can set this frequency penalty and presence penalty. Okay. Now, this is what I was referring to. That is, the Gen AI is not the end of the story. Rather, we have n number of problems associated with this generative AI tool, whether it is ChatGPT or DeepSeek or any tool for that purpose, right? So all of them, they suffers from this, that is hallucination. Okay. Okay. It will answer a query that it doesn't know. Okay. It will never ever say that, sorry, I don't know. Okay. It will come up with this kind of answer, some or the other answer. That answer may be right or wrong. Then biases are there. Knowledge cutoff, which I have already told you, that is the date up to which the, you can say, the model has been trained. Then it does not know about you or your organization. So you need to, if you want to adopt it for your personal usage or organizational usage, you need to train it with your organizational data or personal data, right? Then the training cost is high. Okay, which I think we have already discussed. Why it is high? Because it requires state of the art hardware. Okay, not only CPUs but GPUs, and that too in large number. Okay, and that's why it is a very costly affair. Okay, another issue is the latency. That is, most of the tool, when you interact, it will say thinking, analyzing, and then it takes some time and then come up with the answer. So that is the time taken to give an output is most of the time is higher. Okay, then all these LLM, okay, whether it is ChatGPT or DeepSeek, they comes up with a predefined token limit of 1 million token per chat. Okay, you cannot process more than 1 million token in a single chat. That is the limitation. Now, how to address all this? Okay, we have a solution or an engineering technique, what they call it as the RAG. Okay, which is a retrieval augmented generation. Right. So we are almost about to finish this. This will finish within 5 to 10 minutes. Okay. So what is RAG? Okay, RAG is basically is a system wherein we train the foundation model or the LLM with our own personal or organizational data. Now, how do we do that? Okay, we for doing so, okay, we need to have our data, okay, our own organizational data. Again, that data is not small. It is again in uh, terabytes maybe, or in at least gigabytes. Okay, so how to handle this data? Okay, so if you fed the entire 10 GB of data, okay, to the tool, again it will be cumbersome for it to understand. So there are various, you can say, the small steps which are being used. One of them is what they call it as the chunking. So in chunking, what do we do? Instead of giving the entire data in a single go, we divide the data into small chunks. Okay, and we may declare that chunk size as maybe 500 tokens or 500 words. Okay, so we take 500 chunks or 500 words, first 500 words, next 500 words, next 500 words, and so on. But that is again not sufficient for dealing with large data. Okay, so you need to many times go for what they call it as the chunk overlapping. In case of chunk overlapping, even though our chunk size is 500, instead of starting for the second chunk from 500 and words, 501, we will start it from 451. Okay, 50 tokens. Okay, and why it is so? Because it is usually the 10% of the token chunk size. Okay, why it is so? To keep the connectivity. The tool has to understand how first chunk is connected with the next chunk and so on and so forth. Okay, that's why chunk overlapping is essentially needed. And the next step is the embedding. Once you are done with this, you need to convert these tokens, okay, or chunks into numerical vectors. Okay, and then what do? We generate a vector database. Okay, vector database will be generated, which will be an additional entity, and then we carry out some sort of similarity search. Okay, so this is a engineering technique, RAG. Okay, that is retrieval augmented generation. So in similarity search, we may use either a cosine search or maybe a Euclidean distance and so on, right? So we use something like this in the retrieval augmented generation, and this is the overall scenario. Probably this slide will give you an idea that is how it is being adopted. So retrieval generation loop. Okay, the user is firing the query, it goes to the retriever. Now retriever will not find it there, okay, in the pre-trained. Now this is the original database which has been used for training purpose. Okay, rather the base data you may call it as. Okay, but then what it does, it goes to the, you can say, the knowledge base of your organization. From there, the desired data is basically identified, extracted, and given as an output to the knowledge base, and then from there it goes to the user once again. So that's why there is a bi-directional flow between this knowledge base and the retriever. So this is the generator basically. Okay, so this is retrieval generation loop. Now, what are the advantages of this RAG? Okay, I'll not go into the details of, we are running short of time. Enhance factual accuracy. They give you more accurate response. Okay, it will not have hallucination. Okay, reduce training needs. Now we are not retraining it. We are simply retraining it with our own personal data. Okay, so multi-domain retrieval. Okay, then improved response consistency, secure use of proprietary data. Now I am not handing over my data to some third party. Okay, if you are using a cloud version, definitely you are, let's say if you are uploading your organizational data, sales record, everything, whether it is good, no, it is vulnerable in terms of security. What I am doing, I am downloading the model, foundation model, retraining it, and keeping that data with me only. So it is safe. It is secure use of proprietary data. Then modular and flexible system design. Okay, that is the another advantage of this RAG. Okay, so RAG as the researcher, these are again look up before speaking. Okay, that is the philosophy which RAG follows. Then it uses the domain accuracy. That is the another feature of RAG, and it is the structure is so rigid that it can be quite easily adapted for real world deployment. Okay, and it is flexible. There are many things. Okay, then grounding. Okay, grounding actually when you are training it with your own data or organizational data, same thing can be repeated after 6 months. Let's say you have trained it in July. Okay, then again after 3 months you feel that you need to retrain it. Okay, so you may ground it with your own data, organizational data, maybe from July to September. Okay, so this grounding is basically making it adaptable to the changes, whatever is happening in the on the organizational front or personal front. Then transparency and explainability. That is, if you recall, somewhere I have talked about that they suffers from black box. So this is the again solution for that. Okay. Then decoupling of data retrieval and generation, which makes it modular and flexible, so that anything can be replaced quite easily. Okay, because it is not a rigid kind of a structure. Okay, so this is the overall factual AI standard RAG. Okay, wherein the user query search, then vector knowledge base, and goes to the LLM, and then the responses are crafted and given back to the user. Okay. Now, how to use it for research? Okay. Now, probably you must be keen to know that is how to use all these tools, whether it is using RAG approach or maybe using the traditional AI or generative AI tools, how to use it and up to what extent we can use it. Okay. So the my take as far as the usage for these tools on research is concerned, don't use it for generation of ideas. Okay. Idea generation, one should not use these tools. However, you may use these tools up to the limit specified in the, you can say, the various publishing houses guidelines. Okay, say for example, if you wish to submit it to IEEE, okay, I'm from engineering background, right? So IEEE में submit करना है, तो what you need to do is we have a separate IEEE mandate wherein the usage of these tools is allowed only for editing and grammar enhancement. Okay, for editing purpose, I may use these tools. And the another important aspect is I may use it for grammar enhancement. English is a foreign language for us. So if you are using it for these two purposes, okay, there is nothing wrong. There is nothing wrong. You are not violating any IEEE mandate guidelines. But however, if you are using it for anything other than these two activity, definitely you are making some mistakes. Okay. So it's not good to use it for anything else other than these two activities. On the similar line, Springer Nature has got its own way of dealing with this aspect, that is AI generated stuff. Okay, then Science Journal, then we have elsewhere, and so on and so forth. So what I personally feel is we need to adhere to the guidelines issued by various publishing houses with regard to the usage of AI tool, particularly Gen AI tool for research. Okay. And let's say if by mistake, if you are using it for some other purpose, that is for generation of ideas, what will happen when you put that paper into the black check? Okay, it will be identified as a AI generated stuff. Okay, and it will be categorized as if or rather it will add up to your similarity index. Okay, so definitely you will not be able to publish that content. Okay, and because all these flag tools, whether it is Cognitive or Authenticate, they are equally competent to address the issues arising out of these you can say Gen AI tool, right? They will not exactly come up that whether a particular tool has been used, but it will be tagged as a AI generated stuff. Okay, that is for sure. Okay, so don't use it for that purpose. But whether you can use it for education, the answer is yes, you can. Okay, there is nothing wrong in that. Okay, okay, for education, that is for teaching learning, you may use it. For student assessment, again you can use it. For teaching and learning, there is nothing wrong in that. Research quality improvement up to some extent, the boundaries which I have already told. Now again, you have to have your own boundaries. Okay, why? Because there are no guidelines as on date from UGC or AICTE in this regard. So you are free, but at the same time, you will be responsible for your own mistakes, right? This is an indicative list. Okay, this is what we are going to cover in the next session. Okay, wherein we will discuss various tools. Maybe certain aspect will go beyond this list, like say illicit sentences. We'll talk on Zapier. We'll talk on anti-gravity. We'll talk on hugging faces and so on. Okay, and we'll also have discussion on Olama and so on. Right. So a big thank you to one and all for this first session and a very patient hearing. Right. So if you have any query, you can fire it now. Hello. I hope all of you are with me. Now, whether you want a few minutes break, I can speak. I do not have any problem. I can speak continuously for 3 hours. Okay. But if you desire so, please let me know. But before that, let's say if you have any queries. Now, let me sum up. We have started with AI, okay, from scratch. Okay, then we move to traditional AI, machine learning, deep learning, and generative AI, and so on. Right. So you have any specific query, okay, you may fire it now. Or the other important thing I would like to know. It's a good number, 92 participants are there. Really happy to see on the last day. Okay. But don't forget to attempt the quiz and don't forget to attempt the, you can say, the feedback. Okay, feedback is again essentially needed. And both these activities you need to perform in an online manner. Now, I was asking, let's say if you have any query, आपको अगर कुछ पूछना है तो आप पूछिए, फिर नहीं तो हम डायरेक्ट डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन से शुरू करें.
Hello,
Yes,
hello.
sir.
I think sir.
जी सर बोलिए.
There is a question in my mind.
Yes.
Can AI completely replaces teachers in the future, or will it have only serve as a supporting tool?
Yes, sir. Very fantastic and actually very obvious question you have asked. That is uh, whether there is a threat to our jobs. You know? So
Yes,
the
sir.
answer is a big no, sir. Okay,
Uh-huh.
because these tools has got lot of limitation. The technology is still evolving, but it has got at the same time certain advantages as well. That is intelligent tutoring system. Okay, and that too personalized tutors are possible. है ना? Because see, if you look at our classroom approach, आप या मैं जो क्लास में पढ़ाते हैं, कभी कभी 60 बच्चों को पढ़ाते हैं, कभी 80 को पढ़ाते हैं, ठीक है
जी
ना?
जी
एंड हाउ डू वी ट्रीट देम? हम उनको, देर आर स्लो लर्नर्स, देर आर फास्ट लर्नर्स, ओके,
yes,
देर
yes.
आर स्टूडेंट्स इन बिटवीन. लेकिन हम तो हमारे पेज से पढ़ाते हैं सर. रादर मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम वी कीप ओनली फ्यू हैंडफुल स्टूडेंट्स इन आवर
Mhm,
माइंड, दोज हु आर
mhm.
स्मार्ट, those who are fast learner, and accordingly we go on delivering. So we
Yes.
ignore the rest of the 74 students in a class of 80. Okay,
Okay.
so wherein this technology will help, wherein you may expect in future we may have personalized tutors, है ना? तो पर्सनलाइज ट्यूटर कैसे रहेगा कि आपसे, और ये बड़े आसानी से आज भी आजकल आप देखते भी होंगे कि it will conduct a summary sort of a test or small questionnaire, okay, asking you to respond. And based on that, it will craft output for the person depending upon his or her potential. है ना? तो जिसे हम पर्सनलाइज ट्रेनिंग बोलेंगे, जो आज के क्लासरूम में पॉसिबल नहीं है हमसे. 80 लोगों को हमें पढ़ाना है, हमें तो 80 को पढ़ाना है, ठीक है ना? हम 80 को 4 नहीं कर सकते हैं, ठीक है, या 2 नहीं कर सकते हैं. तो ये एक एरिया है जहाँ पे ये थोड़ा सा आगे चल के हमें डिस्टर्ब करेगा, लेकिन आपको और मुझे चिंता करने की जरूरत नहीं है. ठीक है,
अच्छा अच्छा
लेकिन
अच्छा. Okay.
फ्यूचर इज वेरी चैलेंजिंग सर. फ्यूचर इज वेरी चैलेंजिंग बिकॉज see now what is happening is this online training, it has become new normal. Okay, I very well remember when I took charge in 2023. Okay, so earlier we used to have offline training, and again I am of the opinion that the training has to be always offline, because online training you don't know what is happening, but we have gradually started accepting it as a new normal. So on the similar line, the students are more inclined towards learning from online sources. So definitely it will create problem for us, but not immediately. We need not have to worry. लेकिन आपने सही कहा कि ये चीजें हैं, और ये टीचर को रिप्लेस करना तो जरा बहुत दूर की बात है सर. मुझे नहीं लगता आने
अच्छा
वाले 20 सालों में भी ये पॉसिबल है.
अच्छा.
ठीक है.
Okay, okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
आई होप आई हैव आंसर्ड यू.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
और कोई कुछ पूछना चाहेंगे या हम आगे बढ़े? Shall we continue, or the another thing which I have asked, normally whether you used to have break for 2 to 3 minutes, 5 minutes?
Yes, sir. We can take a break of 2 minutes at least.
2 minutes, na? Okay. So please don't go away. We'll be starting soon. Okay, just allow me to take little bit water. Okay, so that I can refresh myself, and then we'll continue. Okay, within 2 minutes. Thank you
Okay,
very
sir.
much.
Okay.
And please stay tuned. Don't go away. Right? Welcome back, dear participant. I hope I am loud and clear.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
Thank you. Thank you. So we'll start the next session. As I've told you, that is in the second session, we will have some hands-on on some of these tools. Okay. So our core objective is to again sensitize you. Okay. I will not make you masters of any of these tools, okay, because that is again not possible within such a small time. But at the same time, okay, I will expose you. Okay, I will expose you to a number of tools, okay, which you can use it for your own teaching, learning, and research. Okay, so initially we'll start with a very basic tool which one can adopt for teaching, learning, and research. Okay, and the tool is now most of these tools, as I've told you, they are not free, but the beta version of these tool is free. So while discussing all these tools, I will definitely talk on those lines, okay, wherein I will show you that is up to what extent you can use these tools, okay, what are the features which are available in free version, and what are the features if you want to use, you need to go for upgrade or a subscription, paid subscription, and so on. Apart from that, we will also discuss the tools which are available on FOSS philosophy, that is free and open source philosophy, okay, wherein nobody is the owner. So all those tools you can use it without any problem, without any subscription. That is the second dimension we are going to look at. And the third one is, as you are aware, that is while using these tools, you need to upload your data, or maybe let's say your research paper or anything personal, which most of the time you should not disclose with anybody, right? Because if you are doing research, okay, definitely you need to make confidentiality in certain aspect. Okay, so how to safeguard yourself from all those vulnerabilities? Okay, that is security and privacy. Okay, that is those aspects again we will cover with the help of few frameworks like say Olama. Sir, the session is still going on. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Sudhakar Sadanchu, sir, thank you. Very nice and informative session. But my session is still going on. Okay, we'll definitely, I'll have your feedback at the end. Okay, so let us begin with a very basic tool. Okay, some of you must be using it, but I will start presuming that few of you are not using it. So again, because the demonstration of any tool will not require more than 3 to 5 minutes. So there is nothing wrong if it is being repeated for some people who knows it very well. Okay, there is nothing wrong in that. Just confirm me whether my entire screen is visible to you. And right now, whether you are able to see my entire screen. Whether my screen is visible, sir? Anyone?
Yes, sir. It is visible.
It is visible. No? So
Yes,
let us
sir.
begin. Okay, sir. So let us begin with a very basic tool. Okay, on. We will also, if time permits, we will also talk on agents, AI agents. Okay. So this is actually very basic tool, very handy, and I hope you will enjoy it. Okay. So for using this tool, you don't require anything other than your Gmail account. So log in through your Gmail account, go to these Google Apps, 9 dots, scroll down somewhere at the bottom. Okay, you will find Notebook LM. Okay. So click on Notebook LM. Now this tool can be used for teaching, learning, research, assessment, and so on. There are a lot of things you can perform. As on date, it is completely free. Google is not charging anything for it. Okay. And you may do a lot of activity using this particular tool. Even you can create a research proposal if you desire to do so. Right. Let's say I want to create a research proposal. I can do it quite easily using this tool. So again, on research paper, I may synthesize, analyze the research paper using this tool. Okay. Time being, we'll just try to have a look at from teaching learning perspective. Okay. Let's say I want to create a new notebook. Okay. I want to create a new notebook. So the very first option is either you can click on this create new, or you can go to this create new notebook. Okay. Either option you pick. Right now I have picked up the second one. Then what will happen the moment you click on that, you will get something like this on the screen. Okay. Now what is expected is you need to specify the sources from which you wish to create the notebook. Okay. The sources you need to specify. Let's say if you have downloaded some, sorry, somebody wish to ask something or, okay. So, okay, let's move further. So you can upload, let's say if you have downloaded 10 or 20 odd papers, okay, research paper, and you want to create a notebook out of it, you may do so by simply clicking on this option, upload files, and upload all those papers, okay, by picking up, selecting all of them, or dragging and drop them here in this particular space. Let's say you want to learn from some websites, okay, or you wish to create a notebook from some websites, you can do so by clicking on this option. Let's say some papers are lying there on your drive, okay, you may use this drive option. Or let's say if you have copied some text on the this thing and you want to paste it as it is, okay, you may do so by using this copied text. Okay, or you may drag and drop files here. Okay, any type of file is supported, like say PDF, images, doc, audio, and so on. Let us assume that we are not interested in using all these options, rather we are interested in exploring on the web. So I may say AI in human some title I am giving, and simply hit this blue arrow. Okay, again you have two options here. Either you can go for a fast search or a deep search. Okay, deep search will consume more time. So right now we'll go for a fast search. Okay, and hit this blue arrow. Okay, so what it will do, it will search on the web. Right now we are searching on the web. Okay, the other way around is on the drive. Okay, right now I'm searching on the web. Okay, click. Okay, so it will identify the sources from the internet, and it will capture all those sources. Okay, as you can see here. Okay, the impact of artificial intelligence and so on. Okay, now what is important here is the quality of these sources. Okay, because everything from this point onwards will be built on these sources. Okay, so you need to basically moderate all these sources. Okay, how you can do so? By simply clicking on this view button and then exploring all the sources. So if any of the source, if you feel that it is not appropriate, okay, you may skip it by simply unselecting it, okay, and so on. Okay, so this way you may add up as many as how many sources? 50 odd sources can be added in a single notebook. Okay, so you may go on adding. Right now we are considering only 10 so as to save time. Okay, then what next you need to do is simply click on import. Now I am importing these sources and creating a notebook out of it. So simply click on import. Okay. So once you click on import, okay, it will try to capture all those sources. But there are some preconditions on these sources. That is, these sources must be available in a open source platform. Okay, let's say in some of the papers which are there in the controlled kind of an environment, wherein you require login ID and password, then it will not capture those sources. Okay, it will give error because it is not, as I've told you, mandatorily it has to be in the open source kind of an environment. Fortunately, in our case, 7 to 8 sources we are getting, but probably these two sources, yeah, as you can see here, this ICMR, okay, this is again, it is not able to access, and it is saying upload failed due to an error fetching the URL, please try again. And again, this is the and offline probably elsewhere paper, wherein again some control, some login ID and password is essentially needed. So it will not capture those sources. Okay, and then what has happened? It has created a notebook. Okay, it has given a title as well: AI ethics and the future of Indian mental health care. Okay, the topic we have selected was with regard to the mental health, right? Okay, so it has come up with certain points, and it has again crafted. Now, this is the chat functionality. The central panel is the chat. Okay, so it has crafted some built-in prompt. Okay, which you may use if you feel like. Okay, so you may click on any one of them. Okay, it will craft an answer. Again, the answer will be generated based on these 10 sources. If you have selected 50, then it will be based on the 50 sources. Okay, now it is analyzing, focusing, and then responding to your. Now, this is the answer which has come up. That is, how do AI chatbots bridge mental health care gaps for youth? Okay, so overcoming stigma and cultural barriers and so on and so forth. Right. Now, you may give your own prompt here. Okay, you may ask any damn thing with regard to the mental health condition that too in our country. Okay, so whatever prompt you type and hit this arrow, okay, it will come up and the answer will be crafted based on the 10 sources. Now, this chat functionality is very common. Now, apart from this chat, it has got very many things on the right hand side, which is the studio functionality. So, under studio, you can do a lot of things. Okay, you can create a mind map. Okay, mind map is typically required for teaching, learning, and evaluation. Okay, then you may create an infographic. Let's say you want to go for a presentation in the classroom, wherein you require one infographic for the session. Okay, that can be done quite easily here. Okay, now apart from this, you may create an audio. Okay, an audio explainer audio, that too in these many Indian languages. Okay, it is capable of creating audio in Hindi. Okay, and from our own point of view, Marathi is again there, right? Bengali is there, few other Gujarati and some few other South Indian languages are again there. Okay, now you may ask, sir, what is the use of this audio? Okay, so the audio, again, it will be created based on, again, if you click on audio, what are the different types of audio you can create? You can create a deep dive. Okay, you may create a brief audio. Okay, so brief audio maybe you can say you may share it one day before your class. Okay, wherein the student will go through that audio and they will come prepared. Okay, what exactly is going to happen in the next classroom? Okay, or a critique or a debate and so on and so forth. So, and simply click on this generate. So it will be a conversational audio. What kind of audio it will create? It will create a conversational audio between two persons. One fellow will be asking the question, the another one will be responding to your questions. Okay, but by default it is in English, but you may create it in these many Indian languages. Okay, now that is being created. Okay, now you may create a video explainer. Okay, by using this tab. Okay, video explainer is again possible. So video explainer, but it is in English only. Okay, no other language support is there. Now video explainer may be a short or a long, and then you may choose the style, okay, classic and so on, and then simply click on generate. Okay, now I'll not go for all these because it is a bit difficult. Now let's say you want to, because it will be carried out in an online manner, okay, so it will consume time, not difficult. It will consume more time, okay, so we need to wait for that much amount of time. Then you may create a PowerPoint presentation by clicking on this slide deck. Okay, simply click on slide deck. It will create a PowerPoint presentation based on all the 8 sources. Okay, comprising of probably 8 to 12 slides. Okay, so that slide deck again can be prepared. Okay, mind map I have already told you. Then with regard to assessment, okay, you may create a quiz based on again all the 8 sources, or you may create a flashcard exercise. Okay, Okay, now it is being generated. Let me show you what has happened with regard to the mind map. Now this is the mind map which is ready for you. Okay, it is showing you the mind map. Now this mind map can be shared with your student community quite easily by simply clicking on this share button. Okay, so this is fantastic in terms of teaching learning. Okay, ethical foundation and so on. Right, mind map we have seen. Then infographic is again ready. Let's see what's there in the infographic. Okay, now as you can see, the quality of infographic. Okay, if you try to make it on your own, it will be a bit difficult. I'm not saying impossible. Okay, it will consume a lot of time and energy because it is based on again all those 10 sources. It is as if you are going through all those 8 papers one after another, identifying the important stuff and putting them in the appropriate form on a single slide. Okay, and look at the title: AI and the Human Soul, Balancing Innovation with Traditional Wisdom. Okay, I am not saying that this is really fantastic, but definitely it will help you out. Some moderation is needed, human intervention is needed. Okay, I am not saying that you should generate it and use it as it is. Okay, that is again wrong, but it will help you a lot in your teaching, learning, and assessment. Okay, now this flashcard and quiz is again ready. Let's see what's there in the quiz. So it is based on 10 sources, 10 questions probably, right, with right and wrong answers and hint as well. Everything is there, right? Share it with your student community by clicking on this, right? Now this is with regard to the quiz. Okay, then this is the flashcard. I know I am going a little fast, but the idea is to expose you to the maximum number of tools, right? And again, there is no rocket science involved. Okay, it is simply you need to know that is how to use it and how to adapt it. Okay, so this is the flashcard. Okay, right. So again, this can be shared with your student community. What else we have tried? Let me check. Yeah, this I think I forgot to tell you that is this is a data table wherein you may carry out just like we used to do in literature survey. Okay, so you may create a customized data table. Again, the customization instruction can be given here right now because we are going it in a turbo mode. Okay, will not give any specific instruction, but you may type your own instruction. Okay, you may type it in your own language, English, that is enough, and simply say generate. Okay, it will generate a table, comparative table of all the sources. Okay, then slide deck I think we have already given. Okay. Now, somewhere I was referring to that is, let's say you want to create a research proposal based on these 10 sources. Okay, you may do so by going to simply these reports. So, under reports, we have very many things. What are all those things? The very first one is the creating your own, then you have briefing doc. Again, these are very helpful from students' perspective. Okay, briefing doc. Overview of you can say your sources featuring key insights and quotes. Study guide आप बना सकते हैं. Blog post you can create. Ethical governance and framework. Now these stuff, that is the suggested format, this will be based on the kind of input sources you have picked up. Okay, so digitally well-being synthesis. Okay, technological literacy primer, ethical governance framework, organizational resilience strategy, and so on. Okay, so these are all some predefined template which you can simply create by simply clicking on that. Okay, but let us assume that we are interested in creating our own. We are not satisfied with all these predefined template. So you may create your own by clicking on this. Okay, but here you are supposed to type exactly what you want. So you may say create a search proposal using UGC MRP guidelines and simply say generate. So this is what we have tried, probably. Okay, this is the table, data table, which we have created, wherein it is comparing, okay, all those things. Now, this is again ready. This is ready. Then the report, research proposal is being generated. Okay, it will take little more time, and the slide deck is still working on. Slide deck is again fantastic in terms of graphics and all. You will definitely appreciate when you will try some hands-on on these tools. Right? But it is really good, okay, for teaching, learning, and particularly for student assessment and those sorts of activity. Right. So this is all about notebook LM. All about notebook LM. Now this is the data table, okay, wherein all the sources are compared against certain set parameters and so on. That stuff is ready for you. Okay, along with
Sir,
the sources. Yes, yes, ma'am.
sir, as in the LinkedIn nowadays, people are sharing a lot of infographics. Although I have shared one sample in the chat box also. In
Yes,
the sir, so how? Yes, sir.
most of them are being generated by
Generated by?
these tools.
Okay, sir. So how we can create such infographics with the help of that
That is what I have
notebook?
shown you just now. Just now I have shown you that infographic. This one is the infographic. Okay. So this is what we have created. Okay. This is based on the input sources. Now, if I change the input sources, okay, the content will definitely vary. Okay. This is whatever input sources we have identified, accordingly it has analyzed. Okay. And it has come up with this infographic. So if you change the input sources, okay, that graphic will change. Okay, you can very well quite easily create that infographic using these tools. But most of those graphics, particularly on LinkedIn, okay, they are basically generated from, you may say, tools which are typically paid version. Because if you look at the quality, okay, people used to write prompt for that, and it is being generated by all those tools. So that is again possible, but this is simply for, you can say, student learning. Okay. So again, that's why I said the most crucial step in this is the identification of the real sources. Okay. The sources are very crucial to the output. Now, this is the research proposal which is ready. Okay, using UGC guideline. Okay, it will project summary and strategic context. Okay, project abstract, normally what is needed, project identifiers, alignment, but don't copy and paste it. You can copy it as it is. Okay, copy content without formatting. Okay, but if you do so, again, when somebody will put it in the flag check, okay, it will be identified as a AI generated stuff. Along with the references, everything is there. But you may use it as a small guide sort of a thing. Okay, I hope you are getting it. If you copy and paste, and if somebody puts it in the black check, now this is the, you can say, silicon and clay. Okay, this is the PowerPoint which is now ready for you. Okay, silicon and clay, balancing AI, youth mental health, and traditional Indian wisdom. Because somewhere I think I have talked about the Indian context, right? So AI as a nervous system, then this is cognitive shift. Okay, look at the quality of this slide. Okay, mental health void for Indian youth. Okay. Now, what do you feel? Whether it is possible to generate this kind of a stuff on your own? Everywhere on the bottom, you will find this has been generated by this notebook. LM logo will be there. Okay. So even if you are using it, please don't disturb this notebook LM. And disclose in the beginning that it has been generated. There is nothing wrong. There is nothing wrong. You are not doing any creative activity while creating PowerPoint presentation, as a matter of fact. Okay. So how many slides? Look at the number of slides. This is the last. Forging augmented humanity. Okay. So I hope you can use this tool quite easily. Okay, without any problem. Okay, again, this audio and video can be used for teaching learning purpose because it is in your own language. Okay, and it is a podcast kind of a structure, so which anybody can listen. Okay, and those files can be downloaded, again shared with your student community. Okay, so this is how the notebook LM works. Right. Let us move to some other tools on the research front. Anybody else would like to ask anything with regard to this? Okay. So I presume that there are no more questions with regard to this. Let's move to a tool for what they call it as agentic front. Definitely we will talk on. That is how to create your automation of a particular task or creating an agent for performing some activity that you will do. But before that, we'll move to illicit. Okay. This is on the research front. So illicit is a fantastic tool for analyzing or synthesizing research paper. And for using illicit, again, you don't require anything other than your Gmail credential or maybe GitHub and so on. So right now I'll log in into my account using my Gmail credential. All right. So what I was referring to, that is this tool can be used for analyzing and synthesizing research paper. You may suggest some title if you feel like. Okay. Right now I'm simply searching this AI in mental health Indian context. Let's see. Again, I will be showing you only basic. Okay, later on you may explore it. Again, the beta version has got some limited aspect, okay, which I will show you. Okay. So by default, what will happen, as you can see here, it has identified 10 odd papers. Okay, one column will be indicating the name of the paper, title, publication, DOI, everything is there. And the second column by default is the summary. Okay, second column by default is the summary. All right. Okay, now I may add anything. Let's say I am interested in identifying the research gaps. Okay, of all the 10 papers. Okay, I want to carry out some comparative study and rather I want to formulate my own problem for research. Okay, for which definitely it is necessary to know the research gaps. Okay, so simply go to this edit column. Okay, add new, and here you are supposed to type research gaps. Okay. Now, while crafting research gap, if you wish to pass on some specific instruction, है ना, मुझे जैसे कोई specific instruction देनी है कि we follow this 1, 2, 3 steps. Okay, you may give those instruction here in the instruction box. Okay. Timing, we'll assume that we do not intend to give any specific instruction, leave it blank. Then again, answer structure may be any specified yes, no, maybe. Okay. So right now I'm picking up any by default and simply click on this add column. So what will happen? One column will be added, okay, with the title called research gaps, and it will go through one after another. It will go through all the 10 papers one after another, okay, and it will extract the research gaps from all those papers and it will be populated here in this column. All right. So these are the research gaps which are appearing one after another. Okay. Now this way, I may add up as many as 4 columns. Right now, we are having how many columns? First is the paper, second is the summary, third is the research gap. So I may add one more additional column. But let's say if I wish to go beyond that, okay, it will cry. It will cry, I mean to say, it will ask you to go for a paid subscription. Okay. So at max, you can go as many as 4 columns. Okay. As many as 4 columns. Now research methodology is being added. If again I try to attempt, it will say your number of column limits exceed. Okay, please go for a or upgrade your plan. Okay, upgrade your plan. Okay. Okay. So what is the solution? We are all Indians, you know. So you may delete this column. Okay, once you are done, you have extracted and then you are done with this. Okay, you may delete the column. Okay, you may delete the column. So that in a single go, you are not having more than 4 column being displayed. Let's say summary is over. Okay, you may say, go to this summary, drop down and delete. So I've deleted summary. Now again, I can add one more column because again, there are only 3 columns right now. Okay, so you can say the free version comes with certain limitation. Okay, okay, it will not allow you to export certain things. You need to copy and paste and something like that, right? So this is illicit, which is typically used for analyzing and synthesizing research paper. Okay, analyzing and synthesizing research paper. Any specific query you want to fire with regard to this? All right. Now let's move further. There is a tool called PaperPal. Again, fantastic. Log in through your Gmail. All right. Look at what you can do with this tool. Okay. So you may rewrite certain things, what we call it as paraphrasing. Okay, you can carry out research. There are some predefined templates. Even you can check plagiarism. Okay, but again with certain limitation. Okay, don't expect that it will accept a complete thesis. Okay, then you can chat with that PDF. Okay, you can write with an AI. You can brainstorm on ideas, create an outline, ask a research question, and so on and so forth. Right. So you can explore this later on. Okay. Again, I'll not show you because these are all self-explanatory. As I was referring to, that is, you can check plagiarism as well. AI detection, journal AI, okay, reference check, and so on. Okay. So plagiarism check or AI detector or journal fit, all these things are available under this. Okay. But the biggest problem with all these tools is, what is the problem? The problem is only one. That is, let's say I want to check the plagiarism. Okay, I need to upload my paper. Okay, and the moment I upload my paper, it is vulnerable in terms of privacy and security. You never know what will happen to your paper, right? Or let us assume that you are using ChatGPT for generating the examination paper which you wish to conduct in your institution. Okay, you don't know what will happen to it. Right? So they are all vulnerable in terms of privacy and security. Okay, privacy and security. This is, see, the rewrite, you have got paraphrase, improve fluency, make academic, simplify. These are the templates. Okay, you simply pick and add up your document, or simply copy and paste your, import your document and then apply these things. They will do it for you. Then it will change the tone, synonyms, stream, and so on. So what I was talking about is that is they are vulnerable in terms of your privacy and security. Okay. Okay. So it is highly dangerous to use them. Okay. Let's say you want to use all these tools and you don't want to make any compromises on your privacy front. Okay, so there is a platform, what they call it as the Olama. Olama free download. Okay, simply search Olama free download. Okay, the very first line, definitely for Windows. Most of us, we are using Windows only. Okay. You will find something like this. Okay, go for this download for Windows. Okay. Download one executable file. Okay, which is little bit huge in terms of memory requirement. Okay. Install it on your machine, but don't try it on your mobile phone or lower configuration machine. The minimum configuration needed for installing Olama along with the model is Core i7 10th generation with minimum 8 GB of RAM. If it is 16 GB, it is good, right? So don't try it on lower configuration machine. Okay, you will face problem. Okay, so if you have this kind of a machine, you can very well download it. What next you are supposed to do is once you have installed it, go to these models, okay, and download the models. Okay, they are very these many models are available. Now these are all free and open source model. Okay, actually Olama can be used for again getting that RAG kind of a functionality. Okay, you may generate your, or rather you may create your own LLM using Olama. Okay, so I will show you that is how you can use this Olama. Okay, right now I have installed it on my computer, the other desk laptop. Okay, so let me show you the demonstration. But many times what happens, again, it is very resource hungry. Okay, so normally I used to keep it at the end, but since we have started discussing it, okay, let me show you. This is the Olama. So Olama, once you install it, okay, it will be added in your applications. Okay, click on this open. Okay. So right now I'm opening it. Yes. But in my case, what has happened, I have installed only one model. Okay, that is Llama 3.2. So that will appear here in the loading. Right now it is loading that model. Now this Olama, one can use it for creation of your own LLM, own large language model. Okay. So what you need to do is you need to download some pre-trained model initially, then train it with your own data, rather retrain it on fine-tune it with your own data, and then use Olama to create the model. Okay, the LLM to be very precise. So I don't know, many times whenever I try to loads many versions of this Olama. I don't know what's the reason, and that is the reason why my machine many times hangs. Anyway. See, still 3 are running. Okay, and as I have told you, that is, it is very resource hungry. Let me quit these additional Llama. Let us check. So as you can see, yeah, so this Llama 3.2 has been loaded, okay, but I may add up these models as well. Hello. Sir, I hope we are connected. If you have any specific query, you may fire it now. Okay. Now this Llama 3.2, okay, this I have picked up, it is loaded. Now here, whatever prompt I type and whatever responses I'll get, it will be between me and my laptop. Okay. And from this point onwards, you don't require any internet connectivity. Once you have downloaded Olama along with the model, okay, you don't require any internet connectivity. Okay. You don't require any internet connectivity. So you are completely safe. That is, even if you upload your paper or any document here, okay, personal document, okay, it is not at all vulnerable in terms of privacy and security. Okay. All right. So say, for example, if you want to generate a paper, okay, you may do so by simply writing the appropriate prompt, and whatever responses are there, again, it will be stored on your local machine. Okay, in the new chat, okay, it will be stored. So there is no threat to your privacy and security. Okay. Now let me show you, that is what you can do with this Olama. So simply go to this command, cmd. Okay. All right. Now here, simply type Olama. Okay. Now these are the various possibilities. As I have told you, that is for creating a model, simply say create, okay, Olama create, and then the name of the model you wish to create. Okay, and then the name of the model you wish to create. Now let's say I want to run a model. So simply say run and the name of the model you want to run. Okay, let's say I want to pull a model. Let's say I want to download a model. Okay, so that can be done quite easily by simply saying pull and the name of the model. But for pulling, definitely you need to require internet connection, and so that it will download. Pulling means by extracting that model from the Olama website and downloading it on your local machine. Okay, so there are very many things which you can do with this Olama. Okay, so let me show you that this is my. As you can see here, this is my structured LLM which I have created. Okay, this is the LLM which I have created. Okay, by using some pre-trained model and fine tuning it with my own data. So this structured LLM is my own. Now, just like any other model, you can pick the structured LLM and then you may interact with it. Right? So you can create your own large language model, okay, using this framework. And this is completely free and open source. Okay, the beauty of it is completely free and open source. Another framework on the similar line is what they call it as the LM Studio. So simply search LM Studio, the download. And again, very resource hungry. Okay. Click on this. So this link is for Windows. Download it, install it. Again, you have, just like in case of Olama, we have models here. Again, free and open source model. Okay. So Granite 4.1, okay, Quen 3.6, all these models are here. Okay. Again, just like Olama, it is very resource hungry. Minimum i7 processor, 10 generation with 8 to 16 GB of RAM. That is the minimum requirement. Okay. I have installed it on my machine. Let's see whether it works. Yeah. So this is the LM Studio. Open it. For installing, there is no rocket science. Double click on the executable file. Okay. Go to next, and install it on yours. Again, resource hungry. Wait, now, so there we are. Okay. So as you can see here, right? Gamma 2, these many models. Now, in this case, as a matter of fact, yes. Okay. So as you can see here, this drop-down list right now, I have installed Gamma 2 and Llama 3.2. These are the two models. So I may pick any one of them by selecting the appropriate model. Let's say Gamma 2. Okay. And now that is being loaded. Now you may interact. Again, from this point onwards, you don't require anything. Okay, any internet connectivity once the model has been downloaded. Right now it is being loaded. Okay, this is the status bar. What is it showing? Okay, once it is downloaded, you will get the prompt here. Okay, and then you can type whatever query you want to, the way you want to interact with the model. Again, you don't require any internet connectivity. Okay, for using these LM Studio kind of a framework. All right. So let's move to, now again, this is very important from your privacy and security point of view. Now this has come up. So you may check, you can add files. Okay, there's no harm because it will be between you and your computer. Right. Now let us move ahead with a few other things like, let me quit this application because this is very resource hungry many times. Yeah, we have already closed. Okay, now let us move ahead with a few things more. Now let us assume that you want to automate particular activity. Automation, and that too without writing a single line of a code, or you want to create an agent for a particular activity. Okay, you may do so quite easily. Okay, so Zapier is the problem, is the solution there. Go to zapier.com. If you are a first-time user, simply log in with your Gmail account. Okay, Gmail account, or there are a lot of possibilities over there. Okay, once you have logged in, you will find something like this on the screen. It is zapier.com. All right, agents.zapier.com. Now you want to create a new agent. Okay, your objective is to create a new agent, or you want to automate some activity. Simply click on this new agent. Okay. Moment you click on that new agent, you will find something like this on the screen. Okay. Now what you are supposed to do? Okay. If you are a first time user, okay, you can write your own functionality. You can define your own expectation from an agent. But let's say if you are learning how to write an agent and how to create it and how to run it, you may use some predefined templates. Okay. There are certain templates which are already defined. Okay. Which are already defined in the this template. Okay. Now let's say I want to create a customer sentiment analysis agent. Okay. So I've clicked on that. What has happened on the right hand side? The entire functionality has come up. Okay. That is what exactly you expect from this. That is again in English. Okay, there is no high level language which is being used. Or let's say you want to create a support email agent. Okay, I'm running a MMTC. Okay, wherein I have got let's say queries from n number of participant asking me about my courses, their rescheduling, okay, the way in which one can apply, and so on. There are many, very many things, right? So I may automate that job by using this support email agent. Okay. So this is basically right now it is for commercial activities. Okay, but you may create your own on those lines, whatever I have told you just now. So this is the customer support agent. Okay, and look at the functionality when I get a new mail. Look at the contents and determine whether it is a question from a customer. In our case, it will be from participant. So you need to change it. If it's a participant's question, okay, look at the answer. Now, what you need to do is you need to add up your own knowledge base. And say, for example, in case of MMTC, whatever UGC guidelines are there that can act as a knowledge base, or let's say whatever my academic calendar is there that can be added as a knowledge base, and so on and so forth. So this is the stuff which has been written in English. Okay, what I am expecting from this agent. Okay, so we will not modify it. Okay, right now we'll keep it as it is. Our objective is to learn, that is how to create. So use this template. Okay, then definitely you need to give access to your Gmail. Okay, right now I'm giving this access, and then you need to say, okay, Gmail account connecting your apps allows this agent to run action and access your data. So you are giving your consent, okay, that you are giving access to your Gmail account. Simply say create. Okay. So again, if you are a first time user, it will say that is use the insert tool. Some online help will come prop up during the process of development. Okay. So this is the trigger, and this is you may add certain tools, some additional tool if required. Okay, depending upon the functionality. So if you click on tools, certain tools will come up: Google Scholar, Google Sheets, Notion, Drive, and so on. Okay, Microsoft Excel. Okay, Zendesk, and so on. There are hundreds, 9,000 plus apps. Search how many apps? 9,000 plus. Okay. So you may pick any one of them as per your own need. Let's say I'm not picking up anything in this case. Then you can add the knowledge source. Okay. Now the knowledge source can be anything, as I have told you, like say any file which is in the form of PDF or doc. Okay, my academic calendar. Okay, my various UGC guidelines. Those things can be added here one after another. Okay, once you have added all those things, okay, what next you are supposed to do is simply preview the agent. Okay, so simply preview agent. Right now I have not uploaded anything. Preview agent, my objective is to demonstrate the functioning. Okay, and once you say preview agent, okay, something like this will appear, then you may test the agent. So simply say test agent. Okay. Now in testing, what will happen? In testing, what will happen? It will test it one after another. Okay, and it will carry out all those activity whatever we have written here. That is when I get a new mail. Now this is happening in a real time manner. Okay, it will go through my Gmail account. It will identify whether some mail from some customer is there. If it's a customer's mail, what I am expecting. Okay, all those things will be carried out. Now it is scanning my email, right? It is scanning my email. Okay, it will take some time. And then let's say if won't find anything like say customer email, because we have said customer. Okay, so yeah, so it is coming up with the analysis what has happened. No action needed. Okay, this email does not require a response because what has happened, this is some mail from Mintras. Okay, I have viewed the email data. This is a promotional email. Okay, hence no answer is needed. But if an answer is needed, it will craft an answer based on the instruction I have given in the template, and it will then reply to the person as well. Okay, so it will work 24/7. Okay, based on your you can say the inputs, and this is how you can create agents. Okay, this is how you can create agents using Zapier. Okay, using Zapier. Now, if you have any specific query, you can fire it now. Yes, dear participant, whether we are connected.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So I think there are a few more things, but we are running short of time, because let's say if I go ahead with RPA kind of a tool, okay, it will require minimum 15 to 20 minutes. But this is the last day of your NEP orientation and sensitization, and being a director of MMTC, Sant Gadge Baba Amravati University. Okay, I would love to hear from you. Okay, but before directly jumping into those lines, okay, if you have any specific query with regard to whatever we have seen in today's session, I will be happy to answer. So please raise your concern. Okay, I am sure that you must have enjoyed the session. I've tried my level best. Okay. So if you have any specific query, you can put in the chat box or okay. So yes, Rathod sir, please. Kursing Rathod sir, raise hand. Okay, if you have, sir, you please unmute yourself. I hope you enjoy the right to unmute yourself. Rathod sir, you want to ask something? Kursing Rathod, or it is by mistake? I don't know.
Sir, by mistakenly, I have.
Okay, okay. No issue, no issue, sir. No issue. आप कुछ पूछना चाहते हैं तो बिल्कुल पूछ सकते हैं. We'll be happy to answer, because you are the future of our. He seems to be a young professor, right?
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
चलिए. मुझे पता नहीं है कि हमारे ठाकरे सर कनेक्टेड हैं और वडनेरकर सर.
Yes,
you are
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
connected.
I'm here. I'm here, sir.
Okay, okay. So we'll proceed with maybe 5 to 10 minutes of valedictory function. Okay. So,
Of course, sir.
है ना? So if any one of you would like to give feedback on all the session, the way in which it was conducted, okay, we'll be happy to listen to your comments. And definitely, I always believe that there is always scope for improvement, है ना? तो हमें और कुछ अच्छा करने के लिए और क्या करना चाहिए पर्टिकुलरली, इस पे अगर आप लोगों में से कुछ अपने व्यूज शेयर करना चाहें तो आई विल बी हैप्पी. एंड डॉक्टर वडनेरकर सर इज देयर. Actually, we have not planned this, but this is what has come to my mind at the 11th hour. I realized that this is probably the last day. Okay, so it's better to have some feedback from the participant or from the coordinator or the host institute. Yes, sir.
Your lecture was very nice and informative.
Thank you.
May I request you that these tools, can you please provide us in the form of a flowchart diagram, that which are the tools and how to go step by step? Is it possible?
Definitely, sir. Definitely.
Oh,
Definitely. I'll try to work on those lines, and definitely will be in touch with you.
I think, sir.
Ji, sir, boli.
Sir, I want to say something.
Please, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Dr. Amol Thakre, the coordinator of this course.
working as an assistant professor in Rajesh Shaw Science College, Chandu Railway. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, yes, sir. You are very much
Yes,
audible.
sir.
If you camera, if you put your camera on, it would be
Okay.
better so that
Okay.
we can see you.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now it's
Yes,
okay,
sir.
sir.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
I am looking you for the very first time. We had discussion on telephone only. Okay, so I was curious to know
Okay.
whom I. Sir, please.
Right, sir. Okay.
Yes.
As we come to the end of this NEP orientation and sensitization program, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to each one of you for making this program a grand success. Uh, Over the past several days, we have gained valuable insights into the vision, objectives, and implementation strategies of the National Education Policy 2020. The session have enhanced our understanding of learner-centric education, multidisciplinary approach, outcome-based education, skill development research, and the transformative role of teachers in shaping the future of higher education. On behalf of our Rajesh Shaw Science College, Chandu Railway, I express my sincere thanks to the Malviya Mission Teacher Training Center, Santa Gadge Baba Amravati University, for collaborating with us and providing this wonderful opportunity for professional development. And the most important thing, a special word of gratitude goes to Professor Atik sir for your constant guidance, encouragement, and valuable support throughout this program. I also sincerely thank to our Honorable Principal, Dr. Parag Wadnerkar sir, for the unwavering encouragement and support extended throughout the program. A special thanks to the Ankit Thakur sir for the way he planned all the session. Once again, thank you all for your enthusiastic participation and wholehearted support. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Anybody from participant who wish to give some feedback, I'll be happy to. As a director, I'll be happy to listen. Okay, because yes, any one of you, I'll not take anybody's name, but few of you, okay, if you are willing, okay, if you are willing, sir, this is where there is a scope for improvement. I would love to listen on those lines.
Thakre sir and Atik sir.
Ji, sir.
The
Boliye, boliye.
overall sensitization orientation program was very nicely organized, and the content in that program was very nice. Very informative sessions were there. I will request you to spend some more lectures on this Indian knowledge system, because that lecture was very fast and very short of time was given to that particular speaker. Otherwise, all the things are very nicely organized and very nicely pursued. Thank you.
Thank you. Actually, what has happened, sir, in case of IKS, one of the regular speaker, she went to UK all of a sudden. And then I had to request the another person, okay, in that area. And we have very limited resource person in IKS. Okay, so if some of you can work on those lines, I'll be happy to take you as a resource person for those sessions, right? So that's why it has happened in a little bit different manner. Okay, normally we used to put the IKS session as the probably the next day. First day we used to have अपने मराठे सर का सेशन रखते हैं. Normally हम IKS से शुरुआत करते हैं सेकंड डे से. ठीक है. I have taken a note of it, sir. We'll definitely see next time.
Sure, sure.
So, Wadnerkar, sir, I would love to hear from you if you are.
Sir, I would like to say something regarding this informal vote of thanks of
Sir,
the
not.
training program. Thank you very much, Dr. Mohammad Atik sir, for your kind cooperation and choosing our institute as a partner for this nicely organized NEP orientation program. I'm thankful to the Malviya Mission Training Institute of Santa Gadge Baba Amravati University, my dear friend Dr. Mohammad Atik sir, Ankit Thakur sir, our coordinator, Dr. Amol Thakre sir, and all the participants. It was started 8 days ago, and the first session was conducted by my guru, Dr. A.B. Marathe sir. And it was a nice lecture given by Dr. Marathe sir. As always, he used to talk about NEP. And all the 8 days, I hope the participants must have got all the ifs and buts of their in their mind regarding the NEPs. And all the time I was attending the lecture, I have seen all the experts. They have delivered their uh, their their knowledge and on the NEP very nicely. And I hope all the participants must have got the detail of the National Education Policy to 2020. I'm again thankful to Dr. Mohammad Atiq sir and all the team regarding this Malviya Mission Training Institute of Santa Gargi Baba Amrit University. I hope uh, this type of cooperation in the future also. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let me conclude with a final vote of thanks from my end, from my entire team, and I am thankful to the UGC, MMTC, and Ministry of Education, Government of India, for providing financial support to make this program happen at your center. Along with, I am also thankful to my Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Bharate sir, for extending his support, under whose able leadership these programs are being executed. And I'm really happy to announce that our center is being considered at national level as one of the best center for NEP orientation and sensitization. And for that, the credit goes to you as well, sir, for collaborating with our center. Okay, and I'm really thankful to Dr. Amol Thakre sir, who worked as a coordinator. Initially, we were having some problem with regard to the number of participants, but later on, we moved with a jet speed and we could achieve around 100 plus. Right now, probably 130, 140 participants are there. So that shows your commitment under the able leadership of my friend Dr. Prag Vadnerkar sir, principal of the institute. So, and again, let me put on record my thanks to my team, particularly Ankit Thakur. And there are a few more people behind the scene, that is Mr. Chauhan, Mr. Samir Pandey. So it is not a one-man show, right? There are very many things involved. And Ankit is definitely the backbone of our MMTC. So uh, let me conclude with a note that this is not the end of the story. Probably we will have a lot of program in collaboration in the time to come. So with this, once again, I thank the participant as well for attending these programs sincerely, okay, and taking advantage of it. So thank you one and all, okay, and we'll conclude here. It's got 1600 hours, okay. So thank
Thank
you,
you, sir.
and yeah, thank you very much. So I will take your leave and we'll stop here. Sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much, sir.
पण लेफ्ट करायचं आहे की काही आहे सर याच्यात ठाकरे सर?
नाही सर, आपण लेफ्ट करू शकता. बाकी इन्फॉर्मेशन आपल्याला ग्रुपवर येऊन जाईल रिगार्डिंग सर्टिफिकेट वगैरे. लेफ्ट होऊ शकता.
ठीक आहे, थँक्यू.
ठाकरे सर, हॅलो.
हा सर, हा सर,
हा
बोला
ठाकरे सर,
हा हा बोल.
आता फीडबॅक इन काय
सर ग्रुपवर येईल, जे काही येईल ना सगळ्या व्हॉट्सअप
हा, हा.
ग्रुपवर येऊन जाईल. हा, तुम्ही मीटिंग मधून लेफ्ट होऊ
बर
शकता.
बर, ठीक आहे, ठीक आहे. थँक्यू सर. चला, तुमचे आभार सर्व टीमचे तुमच्या. हा, तुमच्यामुळे
थँक्यू
चांगला योग
सर.
आपल्याला आला.
यू आर
ठीक.
वेलकम, वेलकम.
ठाकरे सर,
हा सर, बोल.
हे तुमचं एक उत्तम एक्झाम्पल होतं की टीमवर्कनी कशा प्रकारे आपण सक्सेस अचीव करू शकतो. तुमच्या या
अच्छा.
सर्व प्रयत्नांसाठी सर्व पार्टिसिपंटच्या तर्फे मी आपला हार्दिक आभारी आहे.
धन्यवाद सर, धन्यवाद.
ओके,
so much.
विल मीट अगेन.
ऑफकोर्स सर.